Coming to the game in Update 2.2.1 are 3 new Apex Predators, each with its own mechanic. Improvements to 17 vehicles, including Tier 11, and a thorough rebalance of 3 maps. Help navigating maps. Improvements to World of Tanks Plus, updated Onslaught, and the return of Frontline. Plus gifts for returning players. 3 familiar branches have grown to Tier 11. Meet the Gorilla, Fautor, and the Executor. At first glance, the Gorilla plays the same as the T110E4. It can block, plus turn its own turret, or tear off opponents with its high caliber. But the Gorilla has something else, too. Its gun can be not only devastating, but also fast-firing. The new mechanic lets you fire without waiting for full loading and cause roughly half the usual damage. This lets you finish off opponents and cause damage when you don't have time to reload. You sacrifice some alpha and a little dispersion and shell velocity, but you gain the ability to deal damage where the T110E4 couldn't. When used effectively, quick shots can even increase your damage per minute. In close combat, the Gorilla can hit back with fast, stinging blows. And when fully loaded, it strikes with all its might. The wheeled British tanks are also ready to introduce their new leader, the Executor. Like the concept number 5, this tank is extremely agile, accurate, and wheeled. But unlike its predecessor, the Executor can do this. Its mechanic improves all mobility parameters. Maneuverability, top forward and reverse speeds, and engine power, which increases by 50%. The effect only lasts a few seconds, but it recharges quickly, especially if you drive at high speed. Then the ability reactivates faster. The Executor can thus compete for the title of fastest sniper. It can instantly change position, withdraw from return fire, and even dodge shells. But it's best to keep it out of close combat. That's where the Fautor holds sway. This heavy French tank inherits all its advantages from the AMX M454. It's robust, oddly agile for its armor, and, to top it off, good on rough terrain. And its gun can surprise you. That's down to its special mechanic. The damage per shot increases as the energy scale fills. The scale even fills during reloading. So by the time it's complete, the Fautor is already ready to cause about 430 HP of damage. If you wait a little longer, the damage will rise to 500 HP. And that's just the beginning. When the scale is filling, you can hit X and turn off the limiter. The damage will jump to 650 HP almost instantly. Overload increases the dispersion and aiming time, so use it wisely. You can keep the scale at maximum level for as long as you like, but if you need an accurate shot, you can turn off the overload by pressing X again. You decide for yourself when's best to deal a steady shot, and when it's worth risking a blow from the heart. You get even more opportunities to fight fancy. In this update, we have improved the characteristics of 4 Tier 11 tanks along with their predecessors. The Object 432U was upgraded recently, but it's still tricky to get the most from. The second installment has improved its upper glacis plate and firing comfort. Now, the Object will fulfill its role as a gallant assault vehicle better. The tech specs of 2 of its predecessors have been similarly tweaked. The Imbattable has become more resilient, precise, and dangerous. Higher damage per shot and HP, plus other adjustments, make utilizing the autoloader simpler and more enjoyable. And to make researching the line just as enjoyable, we've improved the characteristics of the AMX50B as well as several modules of the 5120 and 5100. The Contriver boasts boosts to both armor and mobility. This will let you better unlock the potential of both its barrels. For example, approaching opponents for a salvo will be faster and safer. The Tier 8 and 9 vehicles have gotten improvements to several modules. But the can opener doesn't need them. The STK2 has received timely adjustments based on fresh statistics and tankers' feedback. The HP pool has been increased, and the armor has become markedly thicker. This will allow the STK to survive on the front line, just as a heavy tank should. And, more importantly, its special mechanic has been improved. Now it cools the gun even more effectively. This will raise its average firing accuracy. The Type 71 has also gotten some love. And the Tier 8 and 9 have become more effective out of the box, making research plain sailing. There are also a few premium vehicles. The Panther 8.8, STR-VK, and WZ-120 GFT have gotten improvements that they clearly needed, which will make them more exciting and relevant. You can learn more about the rebalance and the new Tier 9s in a separate video or in articles. Let's move on to maps. In this update, we've enhanced 2 of them, while a third will appear in random battles for the first time. Klondike, familiar from Grand Battles and Onslaught, has gotten an updated version for 15v15 battles. The southeastern corner has been thoroughly redesigned. It now has a port with plenty of cover, providing more space for heavy vehicles. The terrain has been reworked slightly in all other parts of the map. New cover has been added, as well as positions and opportunities for implementing your tactics. On Serene Coast, we've improved interaction between different flanks and gameplay comfort for heavy vehicles. All the liveliest zones have been tweaked. Most significantly, the map's center. It now has more cover for heavy vehicles. A rocky hill has sprouted in the middle of the map, and through it, a railway tunnel. Not only for trains. The first line has become a flank for maneuverable vehicles. Now you'll find advantageous but sometimes risky positions on the hills. The coast has become more sniper-ish. It will now host more long-range skirmishes, but nothing stops you surprising opponents with a sudden breakthrough. Several positions around the spawn points have also changed. The final map in the rebalance is Pearl River. On the flank for heavy vehicles, the team balance has been improved regarding positions and time for taking them. The field in the center has changed most of all. The cliff that used to block firing has been removed, and a new bridge now leads into the village. Passages and positions have become more mirrored. We hope you'll like the updated maps. Play and give us feedback. When you haven't played a certain map for a while, it can be hard to figure out how to start your battles. If you've ever wondered which way to battle, check out our experimental minimap feature. The tips are based on a large amount of data on player behavior on the maps and correspond to the most popular lanes at the start of battle for your chosen vehicle role and tier. For new and reworked maps, the recommendations are initially put together manually and will be updated later as the statistics are gathered. The zone highlighting disappears after the start of battle, since the initial positions could quickly lose relevance as it progresses. The tips operate for vehicles of Tier 6 and higher, and are entirely absent for light tanks. Scouts often need to make decisions based on the situation. Plus, light tanks can move around actively. The new feature will be turned off by default for most players. Try enabling it in the game settings. Map tips aren't the only pleasant surprise for returning commanders. Players who haven't entered the battle for over 60 days will be able to simply log in and receive lots of rewards. Tier 8 and 9 premium rental vehicles, 30 days of World of Tanks premium account, personal reserves, missions for 5 times XP, and a bundle of equipment. The gift is only available until May 7th, so don't miss it. Tell a friend who hasn't side-scraped in a while to come and play. In this update, World of Tanks Plus will include a Tier 9 premium tank that's exclusive to all subscribers, together with its own 2D style that clearly indicates the vehicle's Spanish origin. The Leox is a Spanish project from the 1960s that combined the turret of the AMX-30 and the hull of the Leopard 1. The result was a worthy, maneuverable sniper that could hold its own against competitors. Now, this Tier 9 premium tank is available to all World of Tanks Plus subscribers, both with the standard core plan and with the Pro version. The already much-loved TS-54 also remains in the subscription. The final Onslaught season in the annual cycle will launch with some exciting new features. Now, during the countdown, each team can vote to ban one vehicle, which will become unavailable for all players on both teams. This gives you a chance to exclude the most dangerous enemy vehicle for you and its copies, or propose to ban the least useful vehicle from your own team. If your vehicle ends up banned, you'll have enough time to choose another one. You can learn all the details about this feature in the portal article. The airfield map has been fine-tuned to better suit the 7v7 format. Erlenberg and Safe Haven have also been adjusted a little. The Dravettes, Caro 45T, and Ares 90 have joined the list of vehicles available in Onslaught. The roll skill of the latter has been modified to support its unique firing mechanic. Available for free rental this season are the Object 140, Foch B, and T57 Heavy. The now rentable vehicles come with consumables, equipment, shells, and 4 perk crews. Only the shells and consumables can be changed. In addition, the 114 SP2 is now available for purchase starting from the Silver League, not the Gold. Remember that this launch concludes the Year of the Dragon. This is your chance to get the super rare Ashbringer. Meanwhile, the frontline rules remain unchanged. Hold the line, push forward, use combat reserves, and drive different vehicles in one large-scale 30v30 battle. That's almost everything that awaits you in the near future. Play new and improved vehicles. Check out the maps. And World of Tanks Plus. Block damage in Onslaught and Frontline. The final Onslaught season in the annual cycle will launch with some exciting new features. Now, during the countdown, each team can vote to ban one vehicle, which will become unavailable for all players on both teams. This gives you a chance to exclude the most dangerous enemy vehicle for you and its copies, or propose to ban the least useful vehicle from your own team. If your vehicle ends up banned, you'll have enough time to choose another one. You can learn all the details about this feature in the portal article. The airfield map has been fine-tuned to better suit the 7v7 format. Erlenberg and Safe Haven have also been adjusted a little. The Dravettes, Caro 45T, and Ares 90 have joined the list of vehicles available in Onslaught. The roll skill of the latter has been modified to support its unique firing mechanic. Available for free rental this season are the Object 140, Foch B, and T57 Heavy. The now rentable vehicles come with consumables, equipment, shells, and 4 perk crews. Only the shells and consumables can be changed. In addition, the 114 SP2 is now available for purchase starting from the Silver League, not the Gold. Remember that this launch concludes the Year of the Dragon. This is your chance to get the super rare Ashbringer. Hello, Commanders! With Update 2.2.1, the World of Tanks Plus subscription will include an exclusive Tier 9 premium tank with a unique historical 2D style. As before, World of Tanks Plus will have 2 tiers, the basic core tier and the expanded Pro one with special bonuses and improvements. World of Tanks Plus Core is the regular subscription that keeps all the best stuff, permanent account progression bonuses, pre-battle preparation tools, and an exclusive package for comfortable play, including the premium TS-54 tank. World of Tanks Plus Pro will suit the most active players and unlock all new opportunities for them. One of the subscription's main features is Pro Boost. With this bonus, your vehicle will get you 35% more credits and XP for every battle. Play your favorite tank and enjoy the game without worrying about going into the red. Simply activate Pro Boost in the garage for any researchable or collector's vehicle from Tier 1 through 10. And if you want to change tack, you can switch the bonus to a different vehicle once every 12 hours. World of Tanks Plus Pro subscribers will be able to customize their service record. The new service record customization system will let you highlight your stats and rating with exclusive designs and transform the screen to your liking. Your individuality and combat achievements will be appreciated by everyone who views your profile. Another key feature is Battle Pass Plus. With it, Battle Pass progression will be faster. You'll get extra points for battles depending on the game mode. The bonus activates when the Battle Pass season starts and remains valid until it ends. It also applies to the Elite Circuit. Good news for keen players who finish the chapters fast. With the update release, both tiers will receive a shared bonus in the form of a new exclusive Tier 9 Premium Medium tank. It will be available in every subscription option. Born under the scorching Spanish sun, the Leox combines the chassis of the Leopard 1 and the turret of the AMX-30E. The Leox is a sniper tank for second-line play. The accuracy and rate of fire will let you methodically pick apart targets at range, while high mobility will help you escape fire and reposition in time. In addition to the tank, both tiers will include a shared unique historical 2D style, which will remain on your account even after the subscription ends. Core offers the familiar classic format, while Pro is designed for those who strive for maximum efficiency in every battle. Unlock your full potential with World of Tanks Plus.
Heart of a lion, will of a champion. Ain't even trying, just get him amped up. If you got a problem, I'm the answer. Stand up, everybody hands up. I'm unstoppable, I ain't gonna stop till I come on. Yeah, I'm unstoppable. All I do is win, yeah, I'm on a roll. I'm unstoppable, powerful, 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 powerful. I'm unstoppable, powerful, 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 powerful.
This is the world's most advanced processor. In entertainment, its rendering speeds render other processors obsolete. Powers cloud services for billions. Helps change the course of climate change. And uses AI to accelerate disease detection and cures. We make the world's most advanced processors, but only with your vision can we advance the world. AMD. Together, we advance. This is the
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the AMD Onslaught Legends Series Season 6. Hello, Banter. Another OLS season. We're back again.
Yeah, they invited me back for some reason, but yeah, good to be back. I'm very excited for these games.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of games coming your way in this season, starting it off with Phase 1. But of course, we have a lot to talk about as an introduction. This is the playdays that we're going to be looking at. Phase 1, starting off today on the 28th of April. We will be playing best of 5. On Sunday, we're doing an extra match where we have the OCS as well, so a slightly longer broadcast. We start a bit earlier then as well, 2 hours earlier than today. You'll find us on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 European time. And then on Sundays, we start at 4, just to give you a heads up. And of course, then we have Phase 2, which will come after a little mid-season break, starting back on the 19th of May, wrapping it all up on the 30th and the 31st of May with the Grand Finals on OLS, which will be OLS OLF. So that's the American counterpart. The OLS current price was at 43,961 euros. That, of course, you can still boost with the bundles. The Oracle bundle, just like last season, will be available for a while. So if you do not know who to pick yet, do not worry. There is plenty of time to decide, but do not forget about it, of course. The bundles, the Oracle one is the one you want to go for, in my opinion. If you do happen to get the correct team prediction, unlike me or Banter last season, then you will get an upgraded badge, upgraded style as well. Very nice to have. Is it going to be W again? Is it going to be somebody else? We will have to find out.
Yeah, my Vulgus bundle didn't go to the moon, but we'll need to see who takes it home this season. It's going to be definitely a very interesting season here. A lot of new tanks, new changes, buffs, nerfs. So it's going to be good.
Yep, of course, your token drops, which many of you will be very interested in. 5 on Tuesday, 5 on Thursday, 5 on the weekend. It's pretty straightforward. Of course, do keep your eye out on the final weekend. It is a 20 token weekend, so that will be the majority of the tokens you can get. So you can miss a few streams, but you do not want to miss those. You don't want to miss the playoffs, and you don't want to miss those tokens. If you collect 70 of them, you can get an E75 TS for free. And let me tell you, the E75 TS is actually a very, very decent, good tank even, in my opinion. Of course, if you don't want an E75 TS, you can get a Scorpion, and the second one, what's it called? SG-100Y, I think, right?
Yeah, Soviet naval gun in a big box, massive alpha. So that's not a bad tier 6 at all.
Yeah, so plenty of stuff there, you know, styles as well, premium days, consumables, personal reserves. And today, of course, after 180 minutes, you do not just get the tokens, you also get the rental Blitzkowitze and the rental 705A. Personally, the Blitzkowitze is actually a very good onslaught tank when you get used to playing it, so definitely not a bad rental whatsoever.
Yeah, and they come fully equipped with equipment and ammo and everything already in the tank. So 705, less used, maybe has some possibility for side scraping on Ensk, but definitely Blitzkowitz is the one you want to go for with that ability. So fast, such high DPM, fantastic tanks on offer here.
Yeah, and you know, there's a reason why the tanks get banned from time to time, of course. We're going to start it off with Sicarios playing off against Cashback, then Hit and Run versus CTR, Weekend versus Lotus, and then what I would say is the match of the night, Mafia taking on W.
Yeah, that potential final at the end of the night should be good. Match at the moment, Sicarios, they were the OCS finalists, weren't they? Did they win against... I don't know who they played, but I believe they do win. So they replaced Vulgus this season against Cashback. Not going to be an easy game for them.
No, but they do have a lineup with some experience, at least. You know, Rishek is in there as well. He's been around the block more than once, actually. But then, of course, Cashback. We need to mention it, right? They are basically back to their former core almost. You know, after some roster changes here and there. We're going over Sicarios first. These are players that have a lot of experience as well in the league under different forms as well. You know, Miku at some point playing with W. I think Click was in Hit and Run even as a reserve player, like Adi, Milo, Rishek. They've all been around. So they have a lot of experience. If they're going to make this work against this Cashback team, it is going to be a very interesting question, because this is the one, right? I said is back in Cashback, but not just that, Barbarian also returning. So, you know, they went around the block as well, checked out the other teams, and we're like, we're coming back.
Yeah, Barbarian doing a bit of shopping, I think, going and looking at the other teams, see if he can steal any players, but deciding home always feels best, you know? So back with Cashback, so that's going to be quite interesting, him moving over from Invil adding another player. I can't remember off the top of my head who that player has been added, but yeah.
Little, of course, Cashback, he was leading for them last season. Now, with the return of Barbarian and Iset, that's a lot of tactical in that knowledge, so we'll see how that plays into it. He was doing a phenomenal job last season, but now that maybe he doesn't need to lead as much anymore with more input coming from those experienced players, maybe he'll be performing even better than before.
Yeah, Little was one of my season MVPs. I think he was the highest average damage on Cashback, and you know, me and you know that leading and doing damage is not always the easiest, and if you can do both, it's the best of both worlds. So Little might be able to relax a little bit more, let Barbarian take the reins, and might be pushing up into that near 4K number. But yeah, I mean, the pen rate, especially with playing BZs, having such a high pen rate is a nice one. We'll need to see if he can perform to the same level as last time.
For sure. The community predictions, 15% for Sicarios, 85% for Cashback. I'd say that's rather fair, to be honest. The only thing that I might say Sicarios has going for them is that this is, of course, still a best of 5.
Yeah, a best of 5. I mean, there's a bit of luck. We'll see the maps in a moment, but you can't. Sicarios are no pushovers. You really can't write them off that easily. I think I did in my predictions, but still, that they do have some potential here. I wouldn't say they're the weakest seeded team in the OLS at the moment.
I mean, we will have to see how of course, this season is different than the last season, because we didn't mention it yet, but there's a lot of changes, to be honest. There's a lot of changes to not just the abilities. The map pool didn't undergo that many changes, to be honest, but very important to mention, there's been very important ability changes. Most importantly, I would say the CS starting off with a level 1 strike from the beginning.
Yep.
But also it does slightly more damage, if I'm not mistaken. Tanks getting buffed like the 50B, which has been very popular in random Onslaught. And then, you know, to address the elephant in the room, tank banning is definitely going to throw a spanner in the works here. Teams need not one strategy, but let's say they need at least 2 or 3 ready strategies at any given moment. So the tactical depth required is pretty big.
Yeah, you got to adapt. 430 getting buffed as well. So
yes.
Previous seasons, we saw the E50M, the main funny button tank. It's probably going to be replaced by that 430 now. Looking at the maps, Pilsen being taken, that Polish stronghold, we always see Hit and Run and Mafia picking it, but Sicario's picking it this time. Cashback picking that Sand River. They performed very well on that last time until they met W, but Enska's a final. Pretty decent maps for Sicario overall, I think.
Potential is here for sure, but the potential is always there in this regard. And yeah, you mentioned it, 430U getting buffed as well. It's more of a, I think it's a choice still in some regard. The 430U is very good, but the E50M has speed. So on some maps, I feel like you might still see E50M just because of that speed.
I'm not sure about that. I mean, 430U got an upper plate buff of 10 millimeters. It has better dispersion, and it got an engine power buff. I mean, the main issue I'd say with 430 is the gun depression. So I think we'll still see 50Ms on a map like Sand River, where there's a lot of hills and ridges. But I think on a map like Pilsen, where it's mostly flat terrain,
Sure. Sure.
It's going to be that 430.
I agree with that. And on Sand River, you want the relocation possibility of the E50M as well because of that top speed, or even a 430U in some position. Like, there's the option now. Where last season it was definitely E50M all across the board. Here it is, probably more 430U and maybe a little bit of E50M, but like 50P getting added to the mix as well. The buff was actually crazy.
Huge.
Like crazy, especially like the alpha buff, now with 420 alpha tracking tanks in one shot becoming a real thing, because alpha is also correlated to track damage, so that's a little annoying. And the 50B has this advantage where the T57 doesn't. Well, it's not really an advantage, but you don't have to really think about the ability because your reload is long enough that the ability comes back around the same time. With the 57, if you remember, you clip now, and then your second clip you don't have ability.
Yeah. And I mean, it's also the extra HP on the 50B, and they buffed the dispersion as well, right? So it's a bit more accurate. So you might not require stat, especially with the Onslaught modifiers. You wouldn't really need the stabs, but a 50B, especially for random Onslaught, is an absolute monster now. And as well, we do need to mention as well, Dravik got added. We can see Miku has taken it. Ares also got added, and the Karo.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I mean,
the Karos we're going to be seeing.
I mean, Dravets would be the tank you see the most, to be honest, coming out between the ones you mentioned. Karo, not really that great, but yeah, Dravets getting added to the mix. A very, very strong tank as well, if it's not banned either. But so far, it doesn't seem like the teams are opting for any lights.
Yeah, no lights. I mean, I've also got a bit of a prediction this season. I feel like we're going to be seeing less RHMs and more Tissacs, but not in this one. Sicarios, one Dravik, one E100, one Mouse, one Batchat, K91, Fosh B, and E4. We didn't get to see the bans, however.
I think it's below. I think it's the EBR and the Type 5 that
yeah, you can see. Yeah, the colors are a bit hard to see with that orange color, but yeah, cashback, triple PZ, one Dravik, TVD7, 430, and Fosh B. So that 430 coming out, and cashback opening with a hyper aggressive lineup into this middle.
Yeah, the BZ's boosting towards the cap. Sicarios kind of looking, can they do some damage? Little taking one, but Adi in return taking one as well. The shots are very limited, to be honest. Not that much damage being dealt at all, and then more being taken out on the Mouse. And Cashback will hold this position. They will force Sicarios to come in very, very early, but do not forget, of course, Rishek with that K91 has a level 1 strike from the beginning, so he will be able to reset at least one player.
Yeah, that is a really crucial change, actually. You mentioned it. That's CS or K91 strike tanks. Oh, he misses it. Like, should still make it onto this cap in time. 1 second remaining, yet does block that on 97%. Like, should peek, get a decap into the back of Aphrodite. He does. Decent damage being dealt across the board. It's blow for blow at the moment. But Cashback, they're taking a lot of damage from the bat and the back, so they're forced to boost forward. But that Dravik of Miku, he's pretty far away. It's going to take them a moment to get over to him, so that gives some time for Adi to deal damage.
Rishek taking the strike as well. Liberty getting Miku from the outside, though. That's the 430 pushing the field. The strike coming out on towards Aka, and Mindbreaker will hit home. Of course, the strike damage getting buffed a little bit as well. Keep that in mind. 425 Mindbreaker down towards 1.3. Miku will fall, but Sicarios is doing a lot of damage for this. A really great opportunity here. That's, I think, Rishek strike or the Batchat strike coming out. It's Alex from 1-2 with the strike to pick up Aka, so that trade 1-for-1. And now Adi trading against Aphrodite. It's going to be 1-for-1 as well, with neither really getting the advantage there. Adi's technically a 2-shot, but, ability and heal will push him beyond that marker. Rishek smartly readjusting that K91, backing off away from the 430U. Alex taking some damage from Barbarian, but he doesn't do it for free either. And so far, 6v6 HP even between the two, and really anybody's game at this moment in time.
Yeah, anybody's game. It's a nice one by Sicarios. They had Miku far away enough that he could actually get it back around the corner and get covered by that K91. Mayo tries to peek onto Mindbreaker, but that 430 is there. With that funny button, Rishek should be able to distract him a little bit, but that's not really a fight that Rishek wants to take up close and personal. But that does allow Mayo to peek onto Mindbreaker. He's probably going to peek in a moment and just make that kill. Rishek distracting Liberty. It takes a bit of damage for it, but if they make the kill on Mindbreaker, he does.
Look at Alex as well, coming in from the 6-7 line. In his batch at 25T, pushing towards Liberty, and Liberty is now the second isolated target here. Rishek has a strike available as well, and he will spot Liberty running away. A nice shot there with the K91. That DPM is fantastic on that tank. The batch shot of Alex starting to chase. He will need Rishek to help him, but so far this is looking like Sicario is in an amazing position. At this moment in time, they need for Cashback's side to get Barbarian involved, and they are doing that on towards Lycan. That Mouse, he seems isolated as well, can't really go anywhere, a little bit too slow for that. trying to do as much damage as he can. He sees Barbarian Crossbow. He will give it to Squeezy. That's important because that's not healable for Squeezy either. 651. A big strike and a big strike from Rishek will kill it. Alex, in the meantime, slightly too aggressive against Liberty, but Rishek is there. Alex will go down towards the one-shot, but they will pick off Liberty before, but little with the strike coming in, picks up Alex, giving us a 4-on-4, and now Squeezy does die against Rishek. That's another strike coming out. Click will heal quite a bit back there in that Forge B. He had the ability active to tank Aphrodite's Shawl. Milo low as well, and Rishek and, well, Rishek and Adi now playmakers, and right now Sicarios even on HP, but they have that extra gun. Barbarian is hunting for Click here, and maybe even Milo, if he's out of position, misses on the first. He needs to hit everything, misses on the second as well, and now the damage starts sticking, and that's too late. 846, he's not healing that back, and Rishek with the K91 giving him another, and Click is about to be reloaded and will peek this. Rishek might even finish it off himself. Click getting shot from behind now. Rishek looking for the finish. Click pops the ability, but Barbarian will heal, of course, base heal on that Forge B ability coming in. Click getting some, trying to get some shots in between those tank wrecks, and Adi will find Aphrodite with the E4, and now Barbarian and Little have to somehow finish off this game, but it's still possible because Rishek is kind of far away, and Barbarian comes off a reload and picks up Adi. Rishek now in a 1v2 and pushing in. I'm not sure if this is the right choice.
Yeah, he should play distance, use that camo and DPM. Little spots him out, gives him a shot. Barbarian heals, so there's a potential he's now not one strikeable. There were changes to the strikes. It's now not 450, it's 425 damage being dealt by the strike. Nice small strike, brings Barbarian down to a one-shot, but Little's gonna go in and give him a shot. Rishek still aiming for Barbarian. Gets around the corner, Rishek doesn't connect that one. Little will give another. Rishek connects. Might want to connect one before he goes from the corner, but Barbarian picks it up, and so close, yet so far for Sicarios in this game. They really had it at one point.
Yeah, it looked so good for them. Like, looked so good for them until, you know, Rishek a little far out of the fight, and I think a bad moment there is closing the distance at the end instead of like going for the strike and playing around the distance and, you know, making the Forge be basically useless, right?
Yeah, I think it was a... But there were some good plays. You saw Barbarian in the end. He popped ability even when he wasn't under pressure because he knew he wanted to heal past that 425 threshold. I think the nerf to the strikes damage is going to be quite big. But you can see, you know, the Dravik being added, you can already see the impact. 6,600 damage by Little. And it's Little again, that MVP we spoke about in the beginning. Reject 5k on his own, 1,250 strike damage. So not bad by him, but just not close enough. Accurate 0. Oof.
Yeah, I mean, in that BC not getting too much done. Good accuracy, though, from the side of Cashback. And yeah, you can see the bands there again. It looked really good for Sicarios at some point. But I also think that... I remember Alex and Rishek's engagement on the field. I don't think Alex needs to die for that.
No, yeah, he shouldn't. I mean, he died by strike, but even then, like...
He should have Rishek eat all of the damage.
Yeah, because it's more important to have a... Because it's... The KN21 is a bit of an awkward tank because it's rear turreted, so you want it kind of sniping from distance, while the Batshot's a bit more up close and personal, so you want that Bat to have more HP. You're completely right. Yeah, a bit of a mistake. I mean, we didn't fully get to see it, so it's not great, but yeah, I do think that probably cost him the game in the late game, as well as Reject going close. You really want to try and pick up Barbarian, but Barbarian made it around that corner. But yeah, first round to Cashback. Was getting concerned for my predictions there for a minute, but...
I was feeling it, you know. I was like, imagine starting it off with the first round on Sicarios, and I'm looking good, you know. But
I mean, I thought it's the key hand curse, you know. Whatever key hand predicts, you predict the opposite. And for some reason, I decided to go with his prediction. But yeah, 1-0 for Cashback. I think that this was more of an experience. You know, this was Cashback using their experience. They were in a bad position. I think if Sicarios were a hit and run or a W, they would have definitely not thrown this in the end. Maybe a W would have thrown it, but a Mafia or a hit and run probably would have taken it home. But so I think a little bit of an experience, a little bit of player skill and Onslaught knowledge by Cashback, using the strikes, the positions. Yeah, recovering it. So well done by Cashback to win a close game like this, and we'll need to see what Sicarios can do from the other side.
I mean, if the Sicarios keep playing like they just did, then we'll have a lot of competitive rounds at least. You know, like this was a good round from them. They just like kind of losing out on the end, but the very beginning, middle segment was pretty good altogether.
Well, their opening was really good because there was Miku was far away with the Dravik, so he was. That's the nice thing about the Dravik, right? The turret's in the middle, and it has the spaced armor, so you can kind of side trip against BZs very effectively. He's far away, which means they can't boost into him. And the other side, if the BZs decide to boost the other side of the cap, they're boosting into a mouse. So Sicario set up really nicely to counter this cap play. And Cashback really had no good option. They were forced to boost into Miku, and that's why Akka did 0 damage, because he has to cross the distance. They take TVD7 shots, they take E4 shots, they take mouse shots. So, yeah, it was a nice setup by Sicarios. They kind of countered Cashback, but I just think small mistakes on the Sicario side cost them this game. But there's definitely potential for Sicarios to take a round or two.
Yeah, I mean, like, if they keep playing like this, for sure. And, I mean, if they could start it off the season with winning a round against Cashback, it's a little bit of motivation. Ideally, you want them to win too, but you know, Cashback this season is gonna be looking, you know, just like let's say Hit and Run. They're really looking for an OLS win, or another one in their case. But you know, that's for later as well. You know, Hit and Run losing Barbarian now.
I think Barbarian realized the curse is real. You know.
I mean, they're very good at getting second. But Barbarian's very good at getting second as well.
Very good at getting second, yeah. That's what we want. It's like saying Jakef is really good at being on the bench. But
it's a beautiful bench.
It is a beautiful bench. Very comfortable. But yeah, Barbarian deciding to switch over. I think he realized Hit and Run, at least maybe in his opinion, don't have the potential to go all the way, and Cashback do. Maybe he's more comfortable in his home language. But there could be a plethora of reasons, but he made the choice, and it seems to be working out so far. 1-0 to Cashback.
Yeah, second round's about to happen as well. I don't think we can see the bans on this screen, so it's always guessing a little bit. Like at some point, the lineup won't change anymore, so the bans will have gone through. And looking at it, Sicarios, they hovered a Gorilla, but they opted out. They're switching around a little bit here. Seeming to settle on this K91, IHM, Type 5, double T57, and double Dravet.
Yeah, I've played quite a lot of random Onslaught. I've had a bit of a change of heart. I'm kind of enjoying, I'm appreciating the T100 a little bit more. Cashback taking that one, an E4, double flash B140, Type and a BZ. Yeah, what do we think? You have any opinions on the lineups?
I mean, it looks like a very aggressive play from Sicarios because of the Dravets, but
yeah, but those double flash Bs on Cashback, they're not passive tanks.
No, but you know, but they're not really going that aggressive with it either. Like, look at them; they're aiming at Liberty, but the T100 is able to just cross in front. You know, it has better camo values, of course, than the RHM. It's not quite as big. It's not as chunky. So Liberty has no problem with getting past. They try to opt to get some initial damage. They don't get that, and now Cashback will at least secure the middle strike.
Yeah, big hit by Akka into that Dravik of Miku. The Type with its AP does do a bit better against those Draviks because of the spacing, but first blood Mindbreaker does take the strike. Sicario's sitting very far back. All 3 strikes being taken by Cashback at the moment. This is not looking that good for Sicario. They do need to contest something. Otherwise, that strike arsenal will begin to build. Barbarian very cheeky to take that one line.
Yeah, but great for them. Ooh, good plane as well. Good plane in return. Squeeze is actually the one to take more damage. A strike coming out. It will hit home on 2. So a good strike. Good damage as well. And like now transitioning into the cap though. They gotta be careful. Barbarian's still lurking on that 1-2 line.
Yeah, he opted not to run, holding his ground, like crossing. Takes one from Mindbreaker. Akka might try and give him one in return, or might try and give one into Click, I think. Ooh, bounces that one, and Akka takes 1,000 for that. It's not what you want to see, this meaty heavy tank, but now Barbarian's clipping out into like, hence the first 2 bounces. 1, bounces a second, Little bouncing as well, like tanking like a champion here. There's a lot of Fosh Bs. Little will heal most of this damage back. He has this ability pop, but Like's not doing that bad. He weathered that storm pretty well.
I mean, it's a Type 5, you know, if there's one tank to take the punishment, it's that one you want, and they seem to be going for Barbarian right now, and he he has 14 seconds left on his reload. He will pop the ability and heal some back. Milo needs to be really careful because as it stands right now, Barbarian will come out with the clip. The strike coming in, hitting a double strike. Yeah, it's a lot of damage. Barbarian now starting to heal. He's almost reloaded. 1 second. How many shots can he get? Adi with a good block there, keeping him to the side. Will have to tank at least 1, maybe 2 more. And Little coming in from behind. It's the sandwich between Milo and Adi. Little coming in a big ram. Very, very nice to make sure that the RHM dies without using as little shots as possible. And Adi now running out in the open will tank the Type 5 shot, but can he tank the E4 shot without dying is another question. Rishek is the one to take it, and now Liberty gets a shot on Adi. In the meantime, that Forge B still sitting there. Little will face off against Rishek. Liberty finds Adi, so far Cashback turning this back around.
Yeah, that T100 is not got the highest pen, so really nice shots into Adi there into Dravik. I know from experience that Dravik's not that easy to pen with a T100. Click bouncing one, they're not penning this E4. It should be the tank that they're able to go through. Click now on reload, 44 HP, gets ramped in the back, deleted. Like Aphrodite bouncing that one. Not the greatest shooting by both teams in this one, but yeah, Cashback just with that better positioning. Liberty coming in with that T100. Yeah, I mean, I saw Little coming in. I just wanted to shout Little with the steel chair, you know, just coming in behind. And I think this is too much of a passive opener by Sicarios. Allowing Cashback to take all 3 of those strikes, it just puts you in a really difficult position.
Yeah, without that arsenal of strikes, Milo and who was it, Adi, they took 900 each, so that's 1800 damage. Little can come in with a full clip on the first B. He cannot kill both.
It's not
now
100 each anymore. It's because it's 425. 850.
Yeah. Sorry, 850. But yeah, so 1600, 1700. Like that's 5 shots from the first B he has to do to equalize that. And the fact that they let them take 3 strikes in the beginning, like you said, is very passive. They wanted to do some damage to the light crossing, but it was a T100, so they get none. And then their fallback is, I mean, Cashback very greedy to take all 3 strikes, especially that 1-2 line is always greedy. Barbarian goes for it, takes it. He gets repushed, but then I think the strikes make the difference there for that fight. And once they lose that fight, you see the rest of the game kind of falling apart. Adi driving out in the open, Rishek then trying to cross. He doesn't have enough damage for that anyways. Liberty coming back in as well. And like you said, at T100, not the greatest gun at all, even in Onslaught, but makes the shots happen, kills the Dravets. And from then on, the game is just in a bad position.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. I think I might rewatch the replay and see how many with the plane in the beginning by Sicario's RHM, how much info he got. Because if he doesn't get much info, then he might not want to risk a field play. But yeah, taking a light and being this passive, I think they didn't expect a T100. Because if it was an RHM, he might have been spotted on that crossing. But a T100, it's like you said, it's more low profile. It has a much higher camo value. But obviously, you lose the gun. Lose firepower, let's say. But yeah, I think against W, Mafia, Hit and Run, Cashback aren't this greedy. But I think against the weaker seeded teams on paper, they're much happier to be a bit more risky. And I think this was controlled risk, right? Barbarian goes and takes it, but Little is behind him covering. Liberty is one of the best light tank players in the server, and he has been consistently for many OLS seasons. So he's able to take that risk, the coordinated risk on the field, and the BZ taking the strike in the middle. He's covered by the Type and the E4. So it's really nice by Cashback. Controlled aggression, taking those strikes. They were in full control of this game. There really was no point where it felt like Sicarios really had a grip on the game.
Good damage split even between the Cashback tanks. You can see there the strike damage. Amiku did hit 1300, so it seemed like he got 3 with his. But you know, when you let Cashback take all those objectives in the beginning and you're repushing, it's always gonna be very, very hard. But that was Pilsen. The first round was good for Sicario. The second one, not quite. Now we're going on to Sand River, of course, where... What tanks do you think the teams would ban on Sand River? We'll see it after this screen, but what do you think they will be banning primarily?
I think an M5Y or a Dravik. Those are probably the... I don't see Cashback playing an STRV against you know when you are the strongest, when you're the weakest seeded opponents and you think what the strongest seeded opponents are going to take, you don't really imagine them taking tank destroyers, right? You imagine them taking more fighting tanks, more versatile tanks like a Dravik, a 430, or a Batchat. But I think we might see a Dravik or a Yo tank banned, or a light tank. Light tanks are always a pretty decent option, but IS7 and STRV actually. So Cashback
It was Cashback that banned the SCV.
Yeah, quite surprised by the I7 pick, but neither team's dropping the Dravik, so maybe both teams are thinking that the enemy team will prepare strats with the Draviks in mind. But Mayo in the beginning gets some nice information, gives a shot as well. Plane coming in, Aphrodite gives one. Mayo going on that high ground, so... And bear in mind, Aphrodite and Little, double K91, they both start with strikes. Another shot received into Alex by Aphrodite. It's a nice opener. Both teams taking respective parts of the map.
Aphrodite with the mini strike. Ooh, will miss Adi actually.
Destroys
So
the buildings though.
Yeah, but Adi gets a strike, so no damage to be found. Click now pushing up as well. Information tower, Milo tries to take it. Aphrodite will reset that. Liberty will hit it again as well. That's a lot of damage taken already on that RHM and Batshot for this. Click is trying to put some pressure on this K91, but you know, he still has quite a way to go. There's a BZ looking as well, and so far Cashback in a pretty strong position.
Yeah, I like that Click took this back position, because if he commits, there's a play that Cashback can make with Mindbreaker there with the BZ boosting through onto him if he commits. All the way, Addy peeks, doesn't connect it, doesn't have the gun depression, I guess. And what you need to bear in mind, guys, this the small strikes that the K91 gets, they were buffed in the most recent patch, so the level 1 strike is a little bit bigger. The circle that it can hit is a little bit bigger. The damage is the same, but the circle's a bit bigger, so much better for decapping these strikes. Little will take this one. Only the Dravik could deny him, but yeah, Mayo losing that much HP so early is not a good sign for Sicarios at the moment, and they need to get this grill in the game.
Wasn't the mini strike 75 damage last season?
You might be right, actually. I'm pretty sure this season's 100.
Yeah, I think it was 75 last season.
Okay, so they buffed the circle and they buffed the damage. Yeah, you're right.
But this is a really tough position, though, for Sicarios. I mean, Aphrodite behind a rock, even if he was to get plane, Milo doesn't have a plane. I don't think he takes much, if anything, because of the shape of that rock that he's sitting behind, right? He can just go behind it, and who would shoot him? Maybe Zero Line would have a very tight angle, but everybody else, no way. And this Gorilla needs angles to be able to get the damage in, and so far, he's not getting that.
Yeah, I mean, the only advantage at the moment the Sicarios have, I think, is that the grill has never been spotted. But strike comes in, denies Miku, big hit. Oh, Aphrodite, the greed.
Never mind. The strike coming out as well now.
Small one, though.
No, that was the one.
No, the big one, sorry, but it won't kill him, that's what I mean. But
Click is coming,
Miku
though.
Takes it, though.
Yeah, Miku takes, and Miku kills him as well. And was that with a regular shot? Yeah, no, he did the strike. Yeah, and then the strike, he used it anyways to be safe. But Aphrodite, you know, I was just complimenting his position, and then he makes that peak, you know?
Yeah, but that's the thing. As I said, the only advantage for Sicarios is that grill was unspotted, and it pays dividends, because Reject hit Aphrodite for 1,000. Adi being a bit greedy with the overpeak, finally gets punished for it, takes another one as well by Barbarian there. But now, Sicarios are in a good position, down on HP though, and bear in mind that Cashback still do have a lot of strikes. They need to still convert this Sicarios, this advantage that they have.
For sure, I mean, but they do have the kill advantage, right? So now they're probably going to settle into a lot more passive kind of game. Where they're waiting for a play, and that gives Cashback opportunities, right? I think that gives them opportunities to think about what their move is going to be, gather up that strike arsenal. They have potential to get at least the one where Barbarian is all the time, and even the one in front of Squeezy, I think they can take with like the K91, but he already has a strike, so not an option for him. But they have some time to think, where is the weak point, and where do you think the weak point is right now in this setup from Sicarios?
I think probably Addy. He's kind of stuck behind this rock. I mean, I quite like the way the Sicarios have set up. They're keeping the grill in the base to cover against the repush against E1. Not sure why Mayo keeps trying to take that info point. especially when you're on 1200 HP, it's really risky. Reject does get lit and takes a shot. Not sure why he keeps going there. He just needs to cover like against that repush. Mayo takes a strike as well. He needs to stop trying to take that strike. Another strike there, down to a one shot for the strike. Liberty, Intuition, HE, you just saw it there. He's trying to get a shot. Shoots, scores. So unnecessary by Mayo, but beautiful play by Liberty. That HE, it's not the highest velocity. It's shooting on that range. Really nice.
That was a waste. That really was a waste.
Yeah, it was.
Milo doesn't need to take the info. His team is setting up to receive a push at some point. And now, whereas Sicarios had the kill advantage, right? And we're leading because of that, the HP department, they are far behind.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know the draw rules, if it goes to a draw, the timer runs out. The team with the most kills gets the win, and Sicarios were in that winning position until Mayo died. Now it's all even, and it depends on damage dealt, and damage dealt, it's gonna be cashback because they keep getting these double strikes every minute and a half. See Click slowly approaching. Looks like they want to make a move on Mindbreaker. It's a lot of HP to chew through though.
3,730, yeah, very hard.
And by the time that they even get him down to half HP, Squeezy and Little will be there to support him. Click gets spotted, gives a free one because Mindbreaker, I think, took a shot into Reject, didn't connect that one. But you can see now Squeezy and Little, they're converging to help Mindbreaker. Adi takes a shot by the Dravik in the base. I think that's Akka there. They really want to try and get this grill in the game, but if Reject is able to take that high position, you know where the bushes are on the right? You see that, you know, if he goes high in the bushes with the rock, he could give Mindbreaker 1,000 damage unspotted.
And the difficulty is to get up there in the gorilla without the zero line spotting you.
Yeah, Adi is really that weak point. I mean, every strike that gets spotted now is just going to go on Adi.
And they're trying to get some shots on Akka in return, but that's a hold on Rabbit. That's
look on one line though.
Yeah. Oh, good shot.
Like is repressured into Barbarian in that J1 corner. It looks like a 1v1. Barbarian should have the slightly better position just based on how the map is, and Little and Squeezy are giving shots to the side. That's 1,100 down. Now Barbarian is in the advantage, and Like has absolutely no support. He will go down here in this 1v1 bar some kind of miracle. All falls apart for Sicarios.
Yeah, this, you know, it's always, you don't want to overly criticize one player, but this is really like an unforced error under no pressure. From Milo, where, you know, he doesn't need to do anything. They just need to wait and set up crossfires for when the push eventually comes. And, you know, he took that opportunity away from his team. And it was really like, even the way that he was playing around this information tower, right? He could be driving towards the middle, towards the 6 and 7 line to avoid this RHM that he knew was on 1-2 line, but he just kind of hovered around that radio tower after getting double striked and gave Liberty opportunity to kill it, which was also weird.
It felt very nervous. It felt like, you know, I've played so many games where players, you know, you're in a situation where you just need to sit still, and players feel like they always need to do something, right? So it feels like Mayo could have just sat still in a bush somewhere and just, you know, tried to weather the storm of cashback strikes, but just decided not to and decided to try and be a bit proactive and got completely punished for it. But as you said, this is a completely unforced error that it's not nice to say, but it's got to be a bit better.
Yeah, that was a tough round for Sicarios, and it will also conclude the first match because Sicarios will be going down 3-0. Congratulations, Banter. First prediction of the season right, but starting off strong.
I mean, what's most important for me is that Keyhand is above you. Isn't that embarrassing?
I mean, knowing the way he predicts that it's going to last like 3.5 minutes, so not really too worried about that one. Good job to Cashback. Looking tough on the first one. That wasn't that great, but then the next two, well, let's say the second one was a very good round from them. The third one, however, they should be very happy that they actually won this.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think the result is quite similar because Adi was stuck behind that rock. So every minute and a half, right, there's going to be 850 damage on his head, and he can't really leave. At least when they had the base, but then obviously Aphrodite died. So I still feel like it would have been a very difficult game for Sicarios with so much strike damage coming down, because obviously every time who was it, Miku tries to take that strike, he's getting striked in return, and you can see the strike damage on Cashback's side. It's almost 4,000 combined, so it is quite painful. But yeah, a deserved victory by Cashback. I still do feel Sicario should have won that first round. They really had it in their hands. Bit of inexperience, but as we go along in the season, you kind of see teams come into their own. And I think we haven't seen the back of Sicarios just yet.
No, I mean, Cashback was always going to be a tough opponent for them, either way. So the fact that they lost this, it's not the end of the world, right? Let's be honest. It's not the end of the world. It's kind of expected. It was more of a training, like a rehearsal. And we want to see more of them in like the first round and the third round beginning, and less the second round. If they can keep up that, I believe that they will be winning some matches, winning some rounds here and there. But there's still a long time left to go. That was it for the first match, though. When we come back, it will be continuing with 3 more matches. But before that, let's take it away with a little bit of replays.
W just continuing through. I don't think he's making it. That's going to be a lot of BPM. This will be a hard one for Mafia. It's not looking good. he's going to disappear. Pretty bad for Cashback. He's dead. They are doing damage, but they're not stopping this train of W Tank pushing forward. He's a one-shot Itox with one more kill. They can't really do anything. Hit and run seems to be outnumbered. It will be crushed under the heel of W.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to the second match of the AMD OLS Season 6. And Ducky, we have two teams that we know fairly well from last season. It is Hit and Run against CTR, but, well, whereas CTR kind of up and coming last season, surprising a little bit, Hit and Run falling short, just short, of the Grand Trophy last season. So I think we do have a clear favorite here.
Oh, for sure we do. We 100% have a clear favorite. But, you know, this is, in my opinion, a weaker Hit and Run team than last season. But also, I have this memory. Did CTR beat Hit and Run last season?
I think they stumbled over themselves just about at the finish line. I'm not sure if it was Hit and Run or Mafia, but basically CTR got up 2-0 and then fumbled on Sand River into getting 2-3 reverse sweep. But well, this team that you're seeing right now in front of you will try everything not to let that happen, because Hit, for them, I think there is only one thing that counts, and that is winning trophies, but the OLS one has eluded them so far.
It has, and, you know, they lost Barbarian, and they replaced him with Botsik, and no offense to Botsik, but it's some really big shoes to fill, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. He will have to prove himself, or maybe Hit are just going to go with the lineup that is kind of in the middle of the screen, only going with an 8-man lineup. And if we think back all the way to OLS Season 1, then, well, Cashback actually won with an 8-player roster. Talk about 8-player rosters. CTR also only coming in with 8.
Well, both of these teams. Well, the good thing about playing with 8 is that you have a very steady core. Like, you don't need replacements, apparently, not even for like trainings or whatever. So if you take that into account, you know, it's like everybody seems to be very engaged, active, and there. So then you don't need the 9th player, right?
And the other thing that you didn't mention yet is if you have less players, there is less people that you need to share the prize pool.
I was thinking that, but I didn't want to say it, you know?
But yeah, those stats, by the way, they are from last season, and Ketsai, of course, one of those permanent performers. I think he's one of those guys that could just fit in very well on just about any team and perform, because he's not always the most shining star, but I think he's always there, and he's always consistent, playing the tanks that his team needs him to. IS-7, E50M, Bliskowitz, also T100 at times. So yeah, definitely a very, very versatile asset to just about any team. That being said, I mean, he on Hit is now a core of the team, you could say.
Yeah, community break's a bit harsh, to be honest. Like, if CTR plays like they did last season, they're honestly a team that has potential and chances even in this kind of a match. I think it's a bit harsh on that regard. But we'll see how it plays out. Of course, I mentioned it in the first match with Banter already. This is going to be an interesting season because of the tank bans, because of the role changes as well that have gone through. Westfield is going to be the very first map to be played, and then Ruinberg the second. So, you know, it's hard to predict how Westfield will be played out, but it's kind of, I mean, not easy, but you can kind of guess what tanks will be banned, right?
Yeah, I think on Westfield, it is quite an obvious choice for a lot of teams to ban the BZ, just because, especially the Polish teams, if we think back a couple seasons, they were playing Westfield a lot, especially Mafia, and there the BZ was always basically a cornerstone of the strategy, where those teams were basically just waiting and lurking for the opportunity to get that one single overpeak with a lot like quad BZ, even quintuple BZ, and just blast one of the enemy tanks just back into the garage, then, you know, draw back, rinse, repeat. And there wasn't really a lot that you could do if you weren't paying attention and you just let yourself get caught like that. So interesting to see Hit picking it directly, and also with the ban system now, we might not see any BZs at all on it. And for CTR, the Ruinberg ban, I think they recognize that they're the underdog and they kind of want to execute maybe some, let's say, experimental strategies on it.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen all of it yet on Ruinberg, but, you know, as a caster, I'm allowed to have favorites as well, and Ruinberg was not one of them. So let's see if this season it's different with the tank bans coming in as well, and the meta shift in a way. You know, maybe I'm pleasantly going to be surprised. You know, it's a possibility.
Definitely. I think on Ruinberg especially, you could see, for example, the E4 or the Dravets possibly getting banned. I think those are two tanks that can work well on the map. And then a tank that we haven't really seen a lot, I think could work well on Ruinberg, the 50B. I think it is has grown into the hearts of a lot of players with the love that it got last patch. I mean, the alpha being raised by 20, it sounds like only 20, but keep in mind, that thing has 4 shots in the clip, so it's almost 100 more clip potential.
And like I said, it's also, you know, you're more likely to track tanks in one shot now with that added alpha. And then, you know, of course, there's a lot that goes into track damage as well. But let's say alpha also correlates to it. So that 20, while you may think that it doesn't matter, it does, especially when you still have some tanks with experimental HP that does get played on some vehicles. Still, that is definitely impactful, but like you said, the extra damage as well. The ability sync for the 50B is nice compared to the 57. The second clip is ready when you have your ability, so you know you don't have to like wait with shells loaded. So it's a really nice tank in general, but you also got to imagine, of course, unlike a random Onslaught, these players will shred 50Bs also if they are given the opportunity. About the bans, yeah, Ruinberg Type 5 and E4 will be very frequent bans, just like in your random Onslaught. I think I haven't seen a single Ruinberg yet in like 300 matches that I've played where E4 hasn't been banned or Type 5 hasn't been banned. It's kind of like, you know, some maps you just know what's going to be banned before it even starts. On most of the open maps, EBR is always banned, which I think we might be seeing in OLS as well. And like CSs get banned a ton as well, which honestly we could see on some maps being banned as well. So but then you do have the other strike tank story, you know, like the K91 that Reshek used. We might see a decent amount of those, like on Moro, for example. I think we don't have Moro anymore. But on like all maps in general, K91, it's a possibility. And even on Westfield, the K91, I think, was played at some point, and I think it could be picked here as well, especially if you were trying to anchor in the back, right? Even from Northside, playing behind those threes, getting the DPM, getting the mini strike. It's like a trade-off against the Inspire tank, in a way, I would say, because with the Inspire, you know, you get the Inspire, right? But with the strike tank, you get the mini strike. And that is a very important thing to mention for Westfield, is that this quick cap attempts are going to be very hard against the mini strike.
Well, let's see. CTR, first of all, coming in here with a double 50B hovering it, but all of that can obviously change in this ban phase here right now. Well, I think also on Westfield, if you really want to take options away from the enemy team, you could take away the RHM, for example, as a ban, and then try to go with single or double light tank of your own. Like EBR Tessak combination could be a thing where you just try to get map control, maybe one strike medium as well to have the immediate decap available, stuff like this. But yeah, for now, I think both teams looking to play fairly standard, but most importantly, you see no BZs. So that one already seems to have been banned out.
Yep. So the double Lito going for the long game. Good plane. Gets 6 tanks, only missing Herman, but since Deka and Franek are spotted, you know, they'll know that the last tank is a light. So full info for hit and run. Now, how do they play around this?
How do they play is a good question, because I think the tanks that they have, they're good for the cap, but not really for much else. Those MBYs, they want to stay hold down. They don't really want to push out, because yes, they have kind of an okay HP pool, but they don't really want to use the ability if push doesn't come to shove. I like the setup, though, by hit and run with the double Dravets on the G line and the RHM to cover. They just need to be careful, really, not to use him and Ketsai, who has already taken damage. That implies that CTR actually knows that he's there.
Well, nonetheless, it's a very big stalemate, Giant. But the double light, yeah, double plane as well. So they have a lot of plane potential for the cap as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, stalemate in a sense, but then again, both teams are going to be racking up neutral objectives. The question is going to be if CTR will be able to take the second info tower, which at the moment doesn't really seem like a huge possibility, but a huge a huge info tower usage coming out from Hit. They see that rotation that was coming out from the 50B and the K91, and now they obviously have to double back because that was a little bit too obvious. Hit and Run, though, at this point in time, they have taken more damage. And that means that for now, it's also onto Hit and Run to make something happen. But they obviously do have a lot of time.
Things to keep in mind, Froley with the K91 has the tier 3 strike, right? So that's a big one. Ready. Evo has a big artillery strike. So if you think about it that way, this cap attempt will force out those strikes, but will also generate a decent amount of damage in return for CTR, right?
Exactly, and if you do it correctly, you could even generate a second strike. Oh, the K91 gets spotted out here. Monster in that medium tank.
He's dead.
Down and out. And the 50B finding success.
I mean, even if the 50B didn't kill him, you know, like the strike would have finished it off as well, and Hit and Run tried to sneak past, but CTR looked so ready for that. Did you see how ready they were? Really predicting that as a possibility even. I think maybe even the K91 using some spotting equipment on the one that's in front. Would have to check the one that's next to the 50B. Is it Evo?
Possibly. Could be. I mean, the double I think they were too far away.
Yeah, I would love to know if Evo has some sort of a spotting equipment on his K91, because that's still like 3 squares away, and spotting a K91, which has pretty good camo, to be honest, right? K91 has pretty good camo, so I'd like to know if Evo is using anything to help him in that regard.
I just asked the observers to give us a close-up of that one, but for now, this is obviously bad news for Hit and Run, that they are not only down a tank, they're also down a light tank in the grand scheme of things, and the cap attempt isn't really going to work out against, well, at this point, a strike plus double medium with also a strike. No, actually, no spotting equipment on it.
Oh, I'm really curious who spotted him then. The Dravids? Was he using his Brothers in Arms? What's the ability called again?
Unity, I believe?
Unity. I call it Brother in Arms. It's kind of the same thing, right?
I mean, Ketsai dodging the artillery strike, so, well, he's going to get the info tower regardless. He just left there because of the audio cue, but to be honest, well, this is a pretty bad situation for Hit and Run that, mind you, I believe, picked this map.
Right, I don't even know why they use the mini strike on Ketsai. They shouldn't even try it. Just keep it for like something later. You know what I mean? It's like cool and all, you want to do it, but like there's no point denying it. It's like a really minor stuff. Like it's something really small, but you never know that you really need the mini strike at the end, right? And you don't want to be like regretting that you try to use it on killing the RHM.
I tend to agree with you there. But then again, Frontar, who was the one using the strike, I guess he's looking to deal more damage and just acquires the strike again for now, I suppose. But yeah, Frontar also with a shot at Pan's Fury here does not manage to reset. So for now, CTR will probably have to commit the big strike onto the cap. Indeed, it does get used on Deja, but that's only half of the cap points. So 25 seconds remaining. The big strike, though, getting taken from CTR, and they will probably be able to reset there. Another one comes out. So completely reset with the cap timers, and another strike taken by Floki, who has a level 3 ability ready with the 50B to just start blasting whenever it's necessary. But for now, it doesn't seem to be the case, although it's mounting cap pressure and also the shots into Kolicek, they are starting to eat away at CTR's composure.
Yeah, but, you know, Kolicek is going to be very hard to, I mean, hopefully unlike... now from Kolicek onto the cap, spots out Deja, spots out Panther Fury. They will use the strikes as well. The front are with a good reset. You know, there's a regular reset. He's a new addition to CTR, right, from this season?
I believe so, yes. And new blood sometimes can bring new perspective and new talent onto the team still, though 8 seconds and the cap now getting boosted by Ketsai. Hit and run, looking for the knockout punch. The info tower getting used, so does the strike by the 50B. It will find the mark onto Deca and also good reset onto Ketsai. And that something is not losing HP like Franta did.
Well, Froley is taking the strike, but Panther Fury or Fnatic could deny that. So who is going to reset the base right now? Because Froley will not be able to take this for free. He gets denied. It's 4 seconds, and now he's really starting to question about that little mini strike that they wasted, and it's gonna be hit and run, capping out the base after all. And you really start to wonder if that K91 that used the mini strike had one later on, because those few seconds it could have bought might have been potentially crucial. Yeah, this is really good from Hit and Run, and CTR getting absolutely bamboozled.
I mean, was it really good from Hit and Run, or was it kind of badly played at the end from CTR, really is the question, because it kind of feels a little bit like robbery in broad daylight. If you go down a tank like this, and it's very hard to get back from that in 7v7, and then you still manage to ease out what looks like a fairly easy cap win. So yeah, gotta question some of the decisions by the CTR player. You can see Monster the only one that dies, but at the end of the day, it absolutely doesn't matter. I guess the team captain carrying with an absolutely nullifying performance.
Yeah, and it seems like it was Kodicek that spot Monster, unless, because like looking at the assist, the Kodicek is the only one with assist, you know, like Evo, the 50B, and the Dravets don't really have assist. So
maybe they saw like a tree fall and then called for the plane there?
Yeah,
Something
maybe
like that.
Or maybe they all spotted him. But there's no way that they all saw him. Like a K91, I'd have to double check, because like maybe I'm overestimating a K91 camo.
Like, the thing is, he was driving into the trees as well and was still spotted. So I think it must have been a plane. So probably good plane usage by Kodicek there. But at the end, it doesn't matter. Hit, go up a point. And for CTR, it must feel not the best.
No, I mean, especially losing a round like that, right? It's a round where you have a lot of potential. You probably should win the game, and then you end up losing. It's really tough, to be honest.
Yeah, it's tough, but what can you do? You need to keep playing. The next round just almost ready to go. It'll be on Westfield again, and I think Hit and Run, they must be smiling a little bit to themselves, because realistically, after Monster dies, they are kind of supposed to lose the round, and they end up stealing it away, really. Also, talking about player transfers, you were talking about Franta going to CTR. Bolchik made his way from Lotus to Hit, which I think you could consider to be a definite level up.
Yeah, in Bolchik's case, yeah, for sure, it's a level up. I mean, there's no other way to really look at that. So he gets to go to the big leagues with Hit and Run, and for Hit and Run, you know, like I said, I think losing Barbarian is a hard one, and you know, like that last the last playoffs was you know, there's some stuff went down there, you know.
Well, possibility for CTR to do better now. Of course, the tank pick and bans are going to take just that little bit longer as for now, but well, let's see what the teams are going to come up with. I mean, last game, it was the 430U and the BZ. Both are still going to get rid of the BZ for now. It's just a very predictable thing that you can do actually on Westfield, because then you just don't need to plan any strats around it.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? BZ, you know, if you always ban the one, then you can have a few strategies. They can only ban one of them anyways, right? So taking that into consideration, RHM was banned from CTR's side, the BZ from Hit and Run. That's why we see the lineup with the Tasak coming out from Ketsai. He's going to be playing that one. Tasak, you know, very potent tank as well if you get in. You know, 1,000 damage per clip basically. So can do a lot. And CTR challenging up, but look at it. Hit and Run playing the strategy of this controlled north opening, which we see usually with BZs, but you know, Dravids got added and BZ's banned, so they're opting to play it this way. And CTR will have to make a move early on here, and it seems like they're going to push on towards DJ. The sack spraying in, there comes the strike, damage on the crossing, on towards Floki. He will be forced to stop, actually. It's home on 2, and now DJ getting pushed by Woodok and Herman. Herman and that Bliskovice connecting their shot, and now it's on Herman to do the brunt of the damage. Will be penning most of those. The Dravid's not really bouncing. Disek is going down as well, and the Dravid's actually, and Woodok and Herman finds DJ. Kodicek kind of out in the open there, pushing down towards the Dravids, gives Ketsa an opportunity to get back in. It strikes coming out as well on towards Evo, Deca, and Panther Fury, now joined by Monster. The team captain wants to bring the game home for his team. Not sure how Kodicek ended up there near the Desac, and as a result we can see that Evo is dead as well, and Frantar trying to tank, needs the teammates to come back in. It's 2000 HP lead for Hit and Run. Another strike coming out, big radius with the finish as well. That's Monster, and I don't think CTR can repush this.
No, I don't think so. It's just tanks everywhere. Katsai coming in for an assassination on towards Floki as Herman now coming with that Foshby chasing after the CS, but a Foshby is not going to challenge against the CS that can just run ring around the Rosie. Herman now opting for switching the target on towards Panther, who goes down to a 2-shot, but Woodok completely taken out of. And yes, the first game they had the upper hand, but here, Hit and Run just looked oh so ready. Hold down positions immediately prepared. CTR driving into it, into the strikes as well. So yeah, a good reaction from Hit towards the aggressive opener from CTR, profiting off of it. And yes, the first game arguably should have gone CTR's way, but here, no question remains.
That remains because they got 2 kills, but then they lost 1 as well, and the rest of the tanks need some time to get back into the fight, right? To return from this A3 position as well. So there's that. And, you know, Evo and the Dravids also not really getting much out. 1 shot of damage. Kodicek at least getting 4 out in his Dravid. So not really good there from Evo, really. No. Even and Kodicek, but, you know, at least he did some damage.
No, I tend to agree with you. Also, the fact for Hit that the MBYs continuously were able to stay in the fight, and they probably at the start of the game spread out the damage a little bit, which is not something you usually want to do. You want to focus fire, but with those MBYs, as soon as you get up to like 3, 4, 5 charges, the DPM absolutely starts kicking in, and both of them staying alive until the end. I believe it was Decha that didn't have a gunner and a driver, but it didn't seem to matter here. You can see together they have 10k plus damage on those double MBYs, and this is also where this kind of shift in the meta really comes in. The BZ's out. All of a sudden, it seems like the time of the MBY on Westfield has begun again.
Yeah, and you know, of course, the Bounty Hunter ability, I think that's what it's called, Bounty Hunter, right?
Yep.
Got buffed last season already. Where it gets a little bit extra heal and extra DPM as well, if I'm not mistaken. So that comes to play into this season as well, of course, because I think the final update for that was in the mid-season of the last season. So not that long, you know, there was not that much time with it.
Well, let's hop into Ruinberg, which is going to be our second map of the day, and let's see if anyone will be allowed to pick, let's say, Type 5s or E4s, because those normally are the tank bans. And indeed, Type 5 seems to have gone through, both teams selecting or opting for it. CTR, interestingly, no, never mind. They had the ST2, but now it is full Type 5 shenanigans together with an Inspire Medium and a 430. Type 5s, though.
No, but double Dravids there. They'll have a little bit less HP, but more mobility. CTR will be very slow in this battle. You know, that 5 Type 5s, slow giants, but a lot of HP, a lot of utilize this well, though.
Well, let's see. I mean, CTR, yes, they will be slow, but they will also be able to take a lot of punishments. So the E4 has been banned, and I believe Hit and Run ended up not banning anything.
Huh. Wait, so if you don't ban, you don't ban anything?
No, that's an active choice you can make as a team.
Interesting.
Yeah, so if just no one votes for anything, then you didn't vote for anything, and that means no ban is going to go through. It's the same way in random onslaught, by the way.
But I'm trying to think about why would you do it?
Because then maybe, you know, CTR can only either ban Type 5 or IS4, so you probably prepared two different strategies, and now you will get to at least execute one of them for sure. I think that might be the reasoning behind it.
Very interesting.
But yeah, Floki getting a jump onto DJ, and actually Decha also not trading too well here. So hit and run in the opening stages of the game, taking a little bit, DJ even a little bit more punishment here against the opposing forces. As Katsai also taking one. So far, the higher alpha guns from CTR working out well, although Koidicek now in a little bit of trouble with the 430U, but should be able to stay safe on the outside here, especially considering that Hit and Run have their CS, which is a lot of their mobility in the city, where he was just spotted, but luckily for Monster, he didn't take any damage, at least so far.
CTR now taking the F1. I would still call it F1 because of like the old minimap, you know? Not used to the way it is, but he's taking that strike in the 140. That's good for the Inspire as well. Good damage against T-Sec. Takes two. They take the strike with the 140. That will be, like I said, good for the Inspire when he puts that one on. And so far, gotta say it. I mean, if we look at CTR's trades, it's Floki taking one, Koidicek taking one, but then Hit and Run side, they started with less HP, and they're also the one that got punished the most so far.
Oh, finally good retaliation from T-Sec on towards one of the CTR tanks, but Katsai taking yet another stunner in that Drabets down towards a possible two-shot, make that one-shot as Woodok connects. Fronta still coming in fully loaded with that Type 5. T-Sec trying to profit, doesn't make it, so Woodok just keeps on pumping, keeps on driving with the Type 5, looking for the first kill in the game. Will he get it though? That's the question. He does connect it. That means Katsai all down and out of the game. Evo and Herman, meanwhile, taking a look at T-Sec, who goes down. That's two unanswered kills from CTR.
Yeah, and I don't think that Hit and Run can answer. They're not in a position. They don't have HP. They don't have tanks. DJ is getting sandwiched as well. CTR with that quad, well, a quad 5 Type 5s are able to make this work and will be picking up their very first round in this match. It's not going to be 3-0 Kihan, and you may have been very happy that you were ahead of the predictions for just 5 minutes, like I said, but that's looking like it's going to change.
Well, it certainly looks like it, as Decha falls as well, leaving Hit and Run with only a CS type and a Dravets, and obviously that CS is going to melt in the city. All the mobility is not going to help, especially when Herman puts an HE up your butt. Monster is not going to be happy about the outcome of that situation and the battle as a whole, as CTR are going to put the first point of the AMD OLS 6 on the board.
Yeah, good round. Very good round. Types, and it's kind of hard to hold that with the Hit and Run's lineup though. You have the Mivi on the field, he gets pressured back by the 430U. You have this Dravets that honestly got owned. You know, like he realistically just got owned. And then you have the CS, and the CS is also a hard tank. It needs time and it needs an engagement to be able to fight, and it didn't get that.
Did into Katsai coming in there realistically, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day, because it wasn't only him, right? It was also a lot of other tanks on the hit lineup that continuously were losing the individual trades against the CTR players, which is a crazy thing for Hit. Like collectively as a team, normally they can rely on their trading potential, but maybe the lineup that CTR brought with the, well, I guess Type 25 heavy, just too strong for Hit.
And a good damage spread as well for CTR, right? If you're looking at it, the split between them, nobody really on the bottom at all. They all contributed. They had a good game. It was very easy in a way, you know, like they did a really good execute, and then afterwards the game probably never really felt close anymore. It was like, I don't think Hit and Run has an opportunity to come back in it after they lose the Dravets. And it's like, the Mivi can't fight, the CS can't fight, and we lost.
Yeah, I think the problem for Hit here was that their lineup really was lacking any kind of damage dealing tank against the Type 5s. Like anything that's really either high alpha or big burst. Like, for example, T57, we saw that one in the past season, used a lot on Ruinberg. They didn't really have anything on it. They had Type 5s, which, well, against Type 5s, trades should normally even, which they weren't. And then they had Dravets, which, you know, the Type 5 is going to take a couple of those shots and is going to retaliate and is just not going to care.
So, I mean, CTR, you know, like, I don't want to sell them as a 3-1, so, like, I'm really curious. I think Ruinberg was a map where they were doing really well last season. I have, like, a memory of them against Cashback.
Mm-hmm. I think I do too, yes.
Where they 2-0'd them on Ruinberg. I have memories like this, you know?
Well,
So-
let's see. I mean, banning phase is still ongoing. Currently, the types are still on either team. We also see a T57 currently in the CTR lineup. And once again, Daki, no E4s. But because Evo still has the ST2, I do believe that it's going to switch, as it does. Do you think E100 with the big gun could be like an option here to punish the types?
Gun.
You know, if you if the E4 is being removed from both lineups, but you still need something with a turret that does around about 750 alpha.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think E100 is really a E4 replacement.
No, I mean, it's certainly lacking the pen. But yeah, once again, CTR coming in with the E4 ban and Hit and Run once again not banning anything. So very interesting stuff here, especially from Hit and Run. For example, you could ban something that you're just not going to play, but then again, you don't know what the enemy is going to ban while you're banning. So maybe really they just have chosen to leave everything open and then just decide on the, hey, whatever the enemy team bans, we're going to play that strat.
Well, strike being taken on 1-2 line. This is a slow Ruinberg, kind of what we were used to as well. Hit and Run has the potential to take the strike on the 8 line, but I want to point out that there's a Foch B with Evo on the 9 line who's specifically there because he has a angle on towards that strike as well.
Now, where do we go from here? Because I don't want to say it, but I am going to say it. Over a minute on Ruinberg has passed, and not a single point of damage has been dealt. Classic.
Monster gets spotted, that's info though. He knows that there's something there now because he wouldn't get spotted if there was not a tank where Evo is, right? It does a spotting check. What that means, he shoots the gun, he gets spotted, he knows there's somebody in a position they probably expect, but it's always nice to confirm.
Absolutely, and he also knows that it was a tank and not incidentally a plane or an info tower, for example. So yeah, as you said, he definitely knows that someone is going to be there. For now, though, I think both teams are slowly, very, very slowly trying to make progress. Monster starting to be a little bit quicker, driving through with the Dravets. He's driving into T57s, but of course he does have some spaced armor somewhere, and that hold-down position is going to be nasty to lock down the F-line approach here against the entirety of the CTR team.
Kind of cheap. Got there kind of cheap, but he does take the position. That's the most important part. And Froley kind of wants to use his strike, but who does he use it on? Because, you know, the 1-2 line is open again. He uses it on Monster for 25. Damage dealt, it seems like CTR is winning slightly. But, like, it's honestly neglectable right now. And Hit and Run is actually starting to march across. Look at them. Desec, Panther Fury, Deja. They're moving up.
They're spotted doing that, though, so there is a little bit of time for CTR to react here. Koidicek might end up getting caught, though, in the T-57. needs to be very careful. He does have Evo with the Foch B and even a secondary T-57 here starting to open up on Decha, though, as Evo takes a shot of damage by the 140, and that obviously might mean Inspire for the entirety of the hit-and-run team. Yes, the Inspire not as good as last season, but it can be an extremely powerful tool for the shootouts.
But how does hit and run? Oh, so they're gonna maybe bully with Ketsai in the 100? I mean, close up in the 100 is very hard to pen, right? If he was to cross this gap and start playing the corner, he has 2 tanks in support covering him, so gotta take that into consideration. And also, Monster knows that Evo left. Evo is the first beat. That was the one that was on the 9 line, so he can take the strike for free on the outside. Of course, has to accept the damage he takes in return, and he's actually gonna play back inside. There's a rotation coming out, but the 430U wanted to do it together with the Type 5, but the 430U gets spotted out. Good peek there from Kodicek. Gets 2 against Monster. Against that Dravets, and now Ketsai starting to side scrape here. Evo and Floki, this is not an engagement that they like that much, but they do get some good shots. Evo finds 1, Floki finds 1 as well, but Ketsai the 100 angling out. Floki, though, finding the top bar, gives him 2. But here comes the pincer, Decha and Panzer Fury from behind. Panzer Fury looking for Evo, finds the shot. Decha looking for it as well, and it's going to be DJ to finish him off. Will not get to heal that. They find the kill. The pincer comes in from 2 sides, unspotted as well, and now CTR has to react. They have to push back in. They're going for Panzer Fury as first one, but they're now crossing over against hit and run. That set up. Fury joins him. Ketsai overplaying in the 100.
And indeed, double kill here for CTR, but the T-57s are still going to be reloading right now. Koidicek about to come off. Reload is going to bump his clip probably into Decha. That is the lowest target available, but maybe he's going to die before that. Down towards 2 shots. 1 shot in the clip does make the last one. Woodok another shot in towards Decha as well, who is a 1 shot by himself. Fronta in the meanwhile 1 versus 2 situation. Bounces a few important and maybe crucial shots. Franek does shut him down though, putting hit and run in the 4v3 scenario, but they do have less HP.
Yeah, but do keep in mind that a lot of that HP is on Woodog. That's 4k of the HP on that Type 5. If they can somehow get Herman without losing a tank, CTR is able to do it instead. Monster gets a shot against Herman, but Herman can pull back into that cubby hole, and now Franek facing off against Froley. 140 is a good tank, but it's not good enough to beat a 430U and a Type 5, and it's going to be everybody's wrong because CTR is not going to pick up 1, they're going to pick up both rounds of Ruinberg.
Yeah, Monster now trying to desperately solo out Herman to maybe get a 1v2 situation here, but Froley with that absolute machine gun of a 430U is going to chase after, and Herman knows where. The answer is no, but he doesn't need to. He gets the reload off, and he still is a 2-shot at least for Froley here, but Froley with that 430U at this point in time, he is just a DPM machine, and he's gonna bring it home for CTR, and Hit and CTR are actually gonna go to tiebreaker.
Yeah, really, really good stuff from CTR, to be honest. I think they were in a little bit of trouble there when the pincer came in, but it was over the limit, dies, and then, you know, that's 1 kill, and they get the second one, and then they get the ball really rolling, right?
Yeah, I think this time around, CTR were demonstrating what exactly to do against this mass of Type 5s that might be marching your way, which is put your bursty tanks into positions while also, holy crap, Froley keeping the DPM mediums alive. This Soviet medium tank, the 430U, it got buffed. Like, the base stats got buffed, and the ability got buffed a little bit with 2.2.1, and Froley demonstrating that if there is a lot of HP on big enemy heavy tanks, if the 430U stays alive to the end of the game, that's going to translate into a lot of damage.
Yeah, good job. Very, very good job by Froley. Gets a very, very good amount of damage, strike damage as well, but even without the strike, he does basically 7k. So, really, really good stuff. Makes it happen for his team. Hit and Run didn't have that. They opted for the Inspire medium instead, so they had the 140, not the 430U. And the 430U seemed to have been the better choice, and it's going to go to Cliff as the tiebreaker. CTR, they did a really good job last season. They surprised us, so we're expecting how to say it, improvement from them this season, right? And so far, I mean, they are looking good. It's the first match and all, but the first match is the one you have technically the most time to work towards, right?
And also, they're playing against Hit, which realistically, even though they've never won OLS, they are, in my opinion at least, at this point in time, a title contender, even after losing Barbarian, just because they are such a stable team able to show up time and time again. So for CTR to take 1 point secured here with a chance at yet another one, I think should already be a success and might be a testament to CTR improving from season to season, because also what needs to be said, yes, the first season of OLS can be hard, but I think the second one is actually the one where you prove yourself as a team, because the first one, you're coming into it, you're kind of hyped, but the second one, the novelty of everything has worn off. All of a sudden, maybe a little bit of a routine sets in, and that's where you're maybe not completely on the ball anymore. But CTR demonstrating that on their own map pick, they can beat the best.
Yeah, and I mean, they've done a phenomenal job here on Nuremberg. Now going into Cliff, though, this is a map where I would normally favor hit and run, though, normally speaking. I think the quick and it's going to be interesting, though, like what you ban on Cliff. Like BZ seems to be an obvious one. All right, CS as the second one.
Yeah, probably. And the thing is as well, as I said in the battle before, if both teams are like, they don't know what the other team is banning, so they might end up accidentally banning the same thing, which...
if both teams ban nothing, then,
Well, if neither team bans anything, then everything is on the table, of course. Rather not talking about our predictions anymore, which are all essentially down the drain. Kind of crazy to see CTR putting up such a fight and Hit looking a little like ill-prepared maybe, because realistically the first Westfield, it should not have gone Hit's way. Especially after losing Monster like that. And they were also playing against double light tank and double strike medium. So CTR, if we think back to it, really blundering on Westfield. Hit getting lucky. It should be 3-1, right? But not for Hit.
Yes. Yep. But I'm curious to see how Cliff plays out with those bans. Like, you could go to Dravitz's then. But the thing about Dravitz is you don't really want to pick it in mass either, right? Because of the way that the ability works.
Yeah, essentially for those that don't know, the more tanks with that same ability that you pick, and I think it only works that way for this ability, then the weaker the ability becomes. Even for, let's say, IS-7s or Dravitz's or 113s, if you're that kind of guy that you can pick. Then again, I think 430U could be a good option. Just to try and steamroll through the opposing team just with the DPM, and maybe you get a couple lucky bounces in, but we haven't seen the lineups yet. So that all remains to be seen. Hit, though, already on route was very interesting. Possibility on,
yes.
On Cliff.
If it's a brawl, it does a really big burst.
Well, we shall see. I think, at least at this kind of level, an RS ban is also, let's say, unlikely because there's more obvious choices, but the fact that Hit at this point in time, well, they had BZs, but it seems to be banned, and that probably indicates that CTR have a, BZ ban. Adjusting with the 30 seconds that they have before the battle starts. EBR, interesting choice. So I would put my money on BZ RHM ban, possibly.
Yeah, because the T100 comes out, right? And I mean, T100 has been picked on Cliff on purpose, though, because of its lower profile for going towards the hill. So you got to keep that into consideration as well. It might actually have been a choice.
Actually, I just saw the bans in-game, and it's BZCS, of which we see neither. And it seems like CTR have banned out the BZ, whereas Hit come out with the CS ban. Now, the adjustment obviously needs to happen on the fly with EBR booking it with that EBR. He is going to have the speed advantage, definitely, over the T100 of well, his own team. But also CTR with that double light tank, this means that they don't really have a lot of fighting power.
Also to put out is that Herman did not use his plane at the beginning.
Well, that's probably because they don't want to give away that there is a secondary LT, because as soon as Hit know that, they're going to really commit onto whatever they find close to themselves. You can see by CTR, except for the light tanks, no one is really moving close. Woodog, yes, together with Franta on the outside, but normally at the start of the game, you don't really see a lot of enemy tanks there. Herman trying to kind of pre-spot for Franta, so he doesn't really get caught by anything. Franta will get away with the strike for free. And additionally, CTR have also taken the info tower on the hill with that EBR, so the neutral objectives are going CTR's way currently, but the bigger neutral objective currently getting captures by Hit, which are putting the 60 TP ×2 into the cap.
Yeah, double 60p is a lot of HP, a lot of alpha as well to play against at some point. So, got to take that into consideration as well. They do take the strike on 1-2 themselves for hit and run. But how does this T100 get involved in the long run, though? Because, like, it's not really a good damage dealer. It's not on the hill. And, you know, it's still a light.
Well, I mean, he can put the plane on the cap to kind of spot for Franta with the artillery strike. But I do agree. After that, what is going to happen? Floki, for now, with that E5, is going to hold the cap by blocking it. But realistically, he's playing kind of a dangerous game against the double 60 TP, which have a lot more alpha. Fronic with the 140 getting spotted. Floki, though, gets peeked by T-Sec, by more people. A shot from the middle of the map is going to connect. He does retaliate into DJ, and he is going to be okay with that exchange at least, because it does reset the cap a little bit, but he cannot really stay there.
Oh, Franta pushing forward. Damage is so significant. Frontar down towards a one-shot. Herman also not doing that much better. The big strike coming in finishes off that 4 to the U. Getza is in trouble in return, but Herman is dead. An 8,000 HP lead for hit and run at this moment in time. Konicek having troubles clipping out Getza, but for this kill, they're going to pay so much. Konicek down towards 473. Probably going to be picked up as well. Decha already starting to repush. The 60 piece now pushing down the middle from both sides, and both angles come the 60 piece. They pick up the E5, and there's 3 tanks left standing for CTR. The Rurenberg looked fantastic, but this cliff, a little bit too much cooking.
No, that repush over the B line wasn't it for CTR. The guns from CTL that actually had DPM were shut down before it really started mattering. You could also see the focus on the 430U there, then finishing off with a strike as well. So hit and run, perfect reactions on this cliff round here. They are going to reward themselves with the 2nd point for themselves. So I guess kind of crisis averted for hit and run.
At the end of the day, hit and run's gonna take 2 points. Okay, Kihan. Okay. Not quite though. I mean, it's not that late.
Not yet, no. But yeah, hit with that little victory lap against the CTR monster, even ramming the tank. They do claim victory over CTR, but CTR, I think, a little bit of confidence that they can maybe take out of the match, because board is a little bit of a success in my mind, and for Hit, probably a little bit of concern when it comes to preparation with the ban feature still.
I mean, they do end up getting 2 points, but they would have wanted 3. At least CTR gets 1 at something. But neither team is going to be like too happy about it, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a split that nobody's like too happy about. Like, yeah, you get 2 points if you hit and run, but you really want a 3 when you're up 2-0 and you're not able to finish off the game. It's kind of sad, you know?
I think for CTR, they're going to look back and think about that first Westfield. And that's what's possibly going to tilt them a little bit looking back. Because I will keep reiterating, going up a tank for essentially free in 7 versus 7 is normally a gift that you convert into winning the round.
Yeah. I don't know. Like this, this push, like both the 60 piece hit. I don't really understand the goal behind it. The 4-2D was always going to be very, very hard.
Especially since you essentially give up all armor with the 430U, right? Because with, for example, an IS-7, you have that magical spaced side armor that sometimes just tends to eat shots and, send them into the void where they do no damage. But with the 430U, that doesn't really happen. You have to hope for the opponents to miss, and we all know that in Onslaught, missing is a lot harder because as soon as you have working hand-eye coordination, the gun tends to be kind of accurate.
Yeah, for sure. So, thinking about it, this was the T100 is like a hard pick,
Yeah, especially I think on a brawl-focused map like
and especially also
Life.
if the RHM isn't banned. Like you picked the T100, so you have to pick it for a very specific reason, because BZ is banned and CS is banned, right? So you could have picked the RHM, but you ended up picking the T100. Why?
I mean, there is the only two things that make the T100 better in any kind of scenario is that one, the T100 has a lower profile, which means you can play some positions that the RHM can't really, and two, the camo of the T100 is better. So
I get that if you're going hill.
Yeah.
But he wasn't going hill. He was actually just going around the hill.
No, yeah, exactly. The EBR was taking the hill, so you could take the RHM around, where also you have the better gun depression of the RHM together with the better DPM. But, well, for now, I think that is enough theory crafting on our side. Maybe, Chet, you can let us know what exactly you think that the T100 was doing there. It was a weird choice, and CTR are not able to convert the round, and this in turn means that we are going to be back right after some replays.
a quick sneak peek behind the scenes, what's going on. Hi, Phil. Welcome back to the AMD Onslaught Legends Series Season 6. How you doing, Phil?
Well, my predictions are not doing that great, but
I know.
I mean, the gameplay was obviously great to see 5 rounds. I'm doing pretty well.
I understand you. You know, I got onto the plane to Vilnius at like 18 degrees, you know, like short sweater, you know? And I got off the plane and it's like 7 degrees and windy, bro. Horrible.
I mean, we had like 30 degrees in India, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you
even
can
worse.
compare that.
Yeah. So Weekend versus Lotus. An interesting match for both of these teams, right? To see how they shape up. And I would say more interesting for Weekend than for Lotus because Weekend had a horrible, horrible season.
Yeah, but they made some changes. I mean, they have 3 new players. One of them obviously returning players. On the left side, Thundershawk. Paradise, a new player, and Attractive as well. A bunch of those players have played with Paradise before. I think during the VOD 7 stuff, he was still called, what is it, Beauty Futy or something like that. So a bunch of those guys have played together. And from what I understood, their main FC Sunshine is also back. He was officially in the roster, but I think only played 1 match last season. And now maybe that will give them like a nice boost. Lotus, I think only 1 change. That's Bocic, who left the team and was replaced by Maruja. Aside from that, same guys. And I guess 6th place last season was okay for the team, but obviously you're always aiming for more than that. But yeah, 2nd phase is already a start.
Yeah, they want to do, you know, they want to do better than that. But again, the competition is high, so you got to make it work. Jordan, you know, the KD isn't all that high, but it also just comes down to the fact that they were losing more than they were winning.
No, for sure.
So, you know, for them, it's going to be an interesting one to see who, like, I think the season is all about the adaptability, you know, like how much can you adapt to the bans that are being thrown? How much can you predict what is going to be banned against you? And how do you adjust to that, right?
Yeah, plus obviously we'll have a lot of creativity especially at the beginning. You can see roughly 1/3 of the votes for Lotus, so 63-37. But yeah, Weekend, you mentioned it, they have to prove something, and as with all these changes, they better have done their homework.
Let's hope so. You know, let's hope so that it is the case. The maps is going to be Sand River as first one and Ghost Town as second one. So Ghost Town, not that quick caps were so much in fashion, but with the adjustments, right, with the mini strikes, it's going to be even less so.
Yeah, I mean, the cap is obviously much bigger than the strike, even though the adjustment came in that the radius is a bit bigger, but I think as well, like the early capture of the arty strike behind this big staircase will be much harder because that area is very well shootable or like strikeable with the mini strike. So interesting change of dynamic there for sure. Do you think that the Dravek will play a bigger role here as well? Because there are definitely a bunch of Halvan positions.
Yeah, I could definitely see one, for sure. I don't see why not. There's a lot of positions where it would work. I don't know if I would go more than one, depending on the bans. You know, like if a Type 5 is not banned, you know, like there's little reason not to pick like one of them as like an anchor over a Dravet. So you have more HP, bigger alpha, and sure you don't play the hold downs quite as well, but you know, I think we'll see it, but not that much.
Yeah, I mean, first map obviously is Sand River, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. We have seen a Grilla, not with the greatest effect, but definitely something that we could see again. STW was banned before. Kian predicting for Lotus, 3-2
I mean,
for you and Bunter. I said a bit more clear victory. I think Lotus has a chance, and I think everyone has to kind of like get back on the Weekend train if they want to if they want to convince us for more predictions in their favor. They had this season, I think season 4, where they went like 5-0 at the beginning. But since then, people are not too convinced.
Well, that is a lot of Dravids. Seems to be 5
Imagine
of them.
now it gets banned.
No,
No, it's already in the last stage.
Yeah. So double K91, 5 Dravids versus double Mivi, SES, triple E50M, and a K91. So, and maybe STRV?
Yeah, I mean, I will tell you shortly, but interesting to see that we have triple E50M as well. That would indicate that there is a 430U band, maybe, no?
Possible, unless you pick the
Yeah,
50,
430U is banned by Weekend and STRV is banned by Lotus. So maybe they just said, like, we wanted to play 430Us, but E50M does the job as well, especially with the gun depression being a bit better.
And still better mobility. And slightly better gun handling in general as well without ability, you know?
Yep, for sure. But the modifiers from Onslaught obviously helping either way. We can see a bunch of the EO tanks moving already, kind of in this typical JK line defensive hold. Dravek doesn't have as much gun depression, but obviously the turret is great to play against any opponent there. And Weekend comes with roughly 1k HP advantage from the start. Neither team having a light obviously balances the spotting part out as well. But the Kennedy one is being shot, so no spotting for bot chance.
It's kind of a stalemate right on the K line, right? Both teams have so many forces in that location. I don't think either can really push it out. Lotus has like slightly more rotation possibility, right? Because of the E50Ms, because of the CS as well. But to utilize that, you know, they're not going to have to go around. And while the Mivi is a good tank, Clownzik will get shots against him and should be able to pen him from time to time as well. I think that's reasonable to expect. And Weekend is hitting a timing here. They're really hitting a timing. Look at the E50Ms rotating right now and Weekend pushing at the same time.
And they are unspotted, right? So it's 4 tanks now that are like lining up in this line of Dravek where only Clownzik is spotted. Now he's exchanging fire, maybe trying to push Sokol down, buy some extra time. Now they're getting spotted, but the push is already coming in. We'll have to see if the E50Ms decide to join or if they will run over Sunshine, because Sunshine shot David and obviously is in danger now as well. Sokol down to 800 HP, trying to heal against it, but Paradise immediately picks up the new kill. And Sunshine now in danger, but if he falls back, he will survive for quite a moment there, right? Like, I mean, the fire should be coming. Jordan now picks up the kill with a bit of help from Twists. And, I mean, 4k up still. Lotus has some crossfire there onto the next pushing target of David, but Weekend is not looking too bad so far.
No, they're looking really good. Trash Panda pushing past, using the little hill there in front of him as a cover to make sure that David does not get a continued story in this one. He will be going down, the final chapter being written. Trash Panda to finish off with the end. And now it's a 6-on-5 where Weekend has more HP and Weekend has basically everything going for them. They hit a fantastic timing. I don't think it could have been any better if they tried.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely great, especially considering that there is no real information that they could have used for that. I mean, the E50Ms weren't shooting or stopped shooting after they had shot before. So, good for them. With them leaving the northern part, they obviously leave also control over the radio, especially if you take a look in the J9 area. Like, there is already the E50M of Lotus getting some extra map control for some potential crossfire as well. Trash Panda is unspotted, so Jordan doesn't have an immediate angle, but long term, Trash Panda cannot stay there for much longer. You can see shots coming in. The little strike hit him, but he got the strike. So 2 strikes now for Weekend, and obviously you mentioned that 5k HP advantage.
Yeah, and they have control as well. I mean, they have the cap that will get reset by the big strike, which Lotus has 2 of, but Lotus needs to find a kill and a lot of extra damage. And I just currently don't see the way that they would be doing that. You know, like how do they get a kill and how do they even do a lot of damage on top of that? Like this is I'd say an impossible repush.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned that they have the radio towers, so getting the decap into the cap circle should not be a major issue. Hellrep there has cover from shots, but obviously not against the strike. Twist actually gets decapped now, but he was clever enough to drive out, so he prevents this 5-second blockage. It's 5 seconds left, and I'm not sure if this is in time. The strike is now activated, and base captured.
Base captured indeed, and it's going to be Weekend to pick up the round. Not really a surprise. The fact that they got to cap the base, okay, is a little bit, but like overall, that the fact that they won the round, I don't think it was a surprise to anybody.
The round was, I would say, like fairly in their favor already, but this was a bit of a sloppy ending for Lotus, right?
Yeah, they, you know, they should have been able to at least decap, but I think they're losing this game no matter what, almost, you know.
No.
So really good stuff from Weekend. They when they rewatch and they'll realize they hit a fantastic timing. If the E50Ms are still there and they hit the repush, Dravitz is good, but E50M and the DPM ability, if they can focus fire, is also very good.
Yeah, and with that being said, they had, you mentioned it, the advantage in terms of vehicles. So you can see it, 2 tanks destroyed on the side of Lotus. So that was the additional pressure. You mentioned the HP advantage as well. But quick cap leads to obviously not a lot of damage on either side. 12k or 13 if you're generous for a Weekend. But in the end, I don't think either of those guys cares too much about it. First point for Weekend. I'm not sure if that round really tells us anything about the strength of the team, but it's a good start.
Yeah, I mean, let's not take away too much from this round. You know, we can't really say that Lotus made too many big errors. They were rotating. They got caught on the rotate by the push from Weekend. Bad timing. It really is. I mean, bad timing, great timing.
And I mean, they did a good reaction for the bad situation that they were in. They tried their best to eliminate Sunshine, which they knew was isolated. Maybe in a different world, they could have gotten a bit more punishment for the push onto David, and then maybe they would have been the one like down a gun, but like up some HP. But it was not the case, and I think in a best of 5, losing one round is not too critical yet. You can just balance out the first map, go 1-1, and then have the next map, which we already said, Ghost Town. A lot of things can happen.
Yeah, for sure. It's still all playable for like a. I don't want to take away almost anything from this round. Now we're switching the sides, of course, and I think the SCRV ban will be pretty universal on this map.
I mean, depends if there are like specific tactics where you are the team that wants to play it, but so far it's definitely something that could stand out as one of those things. I think there are just certain maps where certain tanks are like extra annoying. I've seen it in random Onslaught on, for instance, Safe Haven, where there are a lot of like Gorilla or STRV bans as well. But the tank choices are being locked in, and I can tell you that this STRV was not banned, and that might be a final pick.
Okay, so the 430Us are picked because they're obviously not banned. So what is banned then in this one?
Good question. I don't know, maybe your tank is also available. Dravik, I guess. There's nobody playing Dravik.
Yeah. And then what would be the second one? EBR maybe?
Dravik and K91.
K91, okay.
Okay, so Evil going immediately towards the south in the STRV. We can see this medium tank aggression there of Paradise, Clownzik, and Trash Panda. Paradise gets spotted, takes 1. Same can be said about Kano, but also Toxic takes a shot from the light tank of Sunshine. who now has plane available again, and the 430Us are coming in as well from the side of Lotus, so Cap is being activated. We'll have to see if Weekend decides to kind of like support their medium tanks there. Paradise takes quite some damage now, down to 1.6. The strikes have been captured, 2 actually on the side of Weekend, and the STRV might have to fall back a bit because the Yo tanks are now encroaching onto the K line.
Gap is on. The Yo tanks are indeed taking the K line. Jordan forced to evacuate, and that's because Weekend has set up this crossfire from above. So the Cap gets abandoned, and they will try to push up Paradise, but he's running away. Clownsic, however, a little bit isolated. He needs some cover, but where is the team right now?
Okay, so it's 4 tanks into basically just Clownsic, and that's very good shooting as well. Now the damage is coming in with the strikes as well. Big damage, lots of targets being hit, and the first gun to drop is actually Jordan. Kano, Hellrap, and Trash Panda coming now from all the sides. Maybe a bit too late, but the damage is great. Weekend has a 4k HP advantage, and now the push is coming in. The Inspire is on. The 430s are coming in with their DPM. 2 one-shots on the side of Lotus, and immediately being eliminated. David drops Tuka, the next one to fall. Little bounce here by Kano, but the next shot should finish him off. Hellrap helps him out, and only 3 tanks left for Lotus.
Yeah, no, Weekend, they were ready for this push down the middle, and it's also, you're just pushing from such a narrow angle, right? Pushing straight into it. You get striked, you get CS striked, you get pushed from above. It's just, when you're in this low ground, making this push happen is extremely, extremely difficult without like crossfire from your own base to shoot the tanks on the crown area, which is the above area. And there wasn't such a thing. You had the Yos, but they also don't really contribute that much. It was a hard push for Lotus, and Weekend very ready to receive.
No, and I would say well-deserved for them. They prepared what they wanted to do, set up all their tanks, especially like the STRV, taking the early second strike as well with the 430U, and Paradise getting out there for, I think, like 800, 900 damage taken. But then he did great damage with the strike. You can see it, 2.7k damage, and as well another 1.7k from Hellrap in the 430U. So quite significant damage, and 0 strike damage on the side of Lotus.
Yeah, you know, the strike damage on Weekend, that's thinking about is so much. And in this kind of game, you know, they did 22,000 damage. 4,000 of that is basically strikes, so it's pretty significant.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the tank bans, I'm not sure if they tell us that big of a story. The K91, I guess, is a choice to prevent like this initial strike, you know, like blocking the K line RT strike from being taken or something like that. But it didn't really matter because the CS of Paradise went into the early position. The Dravek was, I guess, like a legit ban for this 430U push that the team of Weekend had prepared. You know, you don't want to push into some Haldan Dravek and then lose a bunch of shots of HP already. Sand River was Weekend's pick. They converted it 2-0, and now we will switch to Ghost Town. Ghost Town picked by Lotus, and we'll have to see if Lotus can kind of like reverse sweep those 3 rounds that they are missing now, because, you know, you lose 1, you're still okay. You lose 2, you already lost a point on the standing. So let's see what Lotus has prepared.
They really need a good showing here, right, on this Ghost Town, because so far, yeah, the first one you could say, you know, like we said, bad timing. It's whatever, right? It happens. The second one, however, is they made the conscious decision to push down that middle, right?
No.
They opted for it. Now it's 2-0, and in a best of 5, you know, coming back to 2-2 is a very realistic option. But if they lose this 3-0, I mean, it would be not a great start. You know, like for a team like them, I think they will need every round they can get. They're going to seemingly do so in this one with triple B, a Fush B, double Bliska, and an IS-7. Now that's an explosive lineup.
Yeah, and I mean, you can see Weekend with a very different approach. A lot of different tanks, and we had Key highlighting it earlier. That helps the Dravek ability a lot because You have the multiplier based on how many different tanks you have. Taking a look at the banned tanks, which we should see in a second. I assume it's an RHM. Yep, it's an RHM. And where's the second tank? Ah, Type 5 Heavy. Okay, so Type and Dravik being banned. Paradise takes a first shot, a nice snapshot there, I think, from Botchans. But he gets tagged both by the E4 and a K91, maybe even a replane available for Sunshine now. Botchans will try to prevent Paradise from capping. Hits at least the track, that is enough for the decap, but gets punished from basically all the angles. Even the T100 fired maybe a bit too greedy from Sunshine there, but the push is coming in now with the 50Bs, with the Briskavitzes. Strikes coming in as well, but the mouse is there and the mouse can take some hits.
Boltsion's down towards a one-shot, though. He will fall to Paradise, who gets the kill before he goes down in return. Darksik and the Bliskavitz down towards 635 as well. And now Lotus is kind of stuck in this pincer movement, trying to go through this team of Weekend. The HP is good because they started off with a decent amount more, but David kind of isolated, forced to pull back. Evil now peeking from this side as well. Sokol and Twist are coming back in, and these bees, they're reloading. They need to explode once more. You can see their HP dropping. If they, however, can get a favorable engagement on somebody, then who knows what's possible. But it's going to be very, very hard. But Sokol and Twist right now are the playmakers. They're going to commit here on towards Kano and the Dravets in the third tank that is there. Kano is going to be the one that gets focused out. He dies. That's Sokol finding the kill. And now Jordan Tuka starting to clip out against Evilok in his Dravet. He explodes, just disappears in front of everyone. Clownzik will survive and Tuka will go down in return. Weekend took back this HP lead. Now starting to make the kills as well. Sunshine needs to be really careful on T100. He's lucky Darksik only hitting the track. In return, David will find the connection. Could have been a one-shot for that. Wanted to get involved, but almost made a real mess of that one. Luckily enough, one of them not connecting. And now they should be able to slow down the game. And slowing down the game is going to be bad news for Lotus.
Yeah, I mean, the HP difference is one thing, but the light tank difference is a different thing. The K91 has great spotting as well and lots of HP. The T100, I don't think there's any chance for them to spot him anymore. Now another plane is available. Obviously, there's not enough damage for them to just strike it, but Hellrap has plenty of HP. Comes in, takes the hits. Now, if he gets back around the corner, I'm not sure if he will, but then he would recover a lot of HP. Good shooting there by Twists, but I don't think it will matter that much anymore. Another good shot by Trash Panther, and the 50B being a one-shot, the Forge not having a turret, and the T100 kind of being like invisible towards them. This will be a very tough one to recover for Lotus.
I mean, I'm willing to nitpick a little bit here, and I think it's fair to do so. The Foch B had no business doing what he did, right? He does get the 2 kills, but the strike was coming back up in like 10 seconds, right? And they had 100% control over that with Trash Panda. So Trash Panda could have taken the strike with the Foch B covering and the T100 covering, and whoever comes down from Lotus will die. He will explode. The Blitzcats can't do it, right? Because they're both one-shot. So was it necessary to do that? I don't think so. They could have even put the Force B on the strike and then killed them that way. Yeah, it's like, it's nitpicking, but like in a closer game, it could really matter.
Yeah, for sure. Especially as even like this, it's not like crazy 5-0 tanks remaining or something like that. I mean, it's still a 2-on-2. Sure, there's a significant advantage for Weekend. They have a strike. They could basically blow up T-Sec with this radio, not T-Sec Twist with this radio strike combination any moment. I guess they're patiently waiting to get him into a position where they can maybe double strike it. The T100, you can see, only has the radio. So if he reaches the strike, they could kind of like increase the perimeter. Now the radio was activated. The plane as well onto the 50B. So 50B doesn't have a lot of options how to escape there. Now he gets unspotted, and you can see the strike of Trash Panda was this area without being surprised. It's still 2 autoloaders, but on the other hand, Sokol also has this combination of strike plus radio now.
Sunshine takes the strike. As you said, they're looking for the double strike opportunity. and they're going to be doing just that as well. Sunshine does get striked in return, but did he not use it?
I mean, he used the plane, but like he used the plane on twist. I don't know why they didn't just strike him. Like, I mean, the 50B is quick, but like,
It's hard to dodge double strike, to be honest.
I mean, they only had one at that point, right? Like, I don't know. They activated it and then didn't use the strike. I mean, again, you mentioned that those are the small things, and now obviously, Weekend having 2 strikes but no radio tower, meaning that Sokol could just decide to drive up and potentially strike Sunshine again, and with 4 minutes left, he will definitely get another chance for another strike.
Well, the Fush B is taking the info, but Sunshine does get a plane. Does he opt to use it? He does opt to use it, actually. So he'll spot out Sokol. If he can get a shot on him, then he will also get a replane, of course. Does he connect it? He misses it. But he does get a replane anyways, because of the strike. And then Sunshine does get actually... I mean, they're doing a really good job against him there. That was blind.
No, I mean, Sunshine fired onto the radio tower, so maybe they just saw shots going there and just said like, okay, this should be the rough angle. But yeah, I'm not happy with what Weekend is doing out of the game, and if the 50B can somehow find himself in a position where the Foch tanks kind of like as a front line for him, the 50B with this big clip, like, it's still very dangerous. Do you remember how much HP advantage there was at the beginning? Because I think one of the teams had more HP from the start.
I mean, Lotus side a bit more HP, right? It's straightforward because they have 7 tanks versus a T100, and K91 doesn't really have a lot of HP either. In that regard, CS doesn't have a lot of HP either.
Only the mouse. But
yeah.
I guess also, like, Hellrap regenerated some HP with the Foch B.
Yeah, but Sokol also, you know, is also in a Foch B.
No.
100% Lotus side a bit more HP.
No. So I would say Weekend should have the advantage.
Yeah,
in
but
terms
it's
of
not
damage
it's,
dealt. But
it's
it's
not,
like it's very like.
It's not
why don't you
at
just
all.
get a clean win, right?
Yeah, it started with the Foch, right? And then it is kind of spiraled into this. And I mean, kudos to Lotus. They did really good strikes against Sunshine. But with an information tower and a second strike at some point, you should always be able to get the 50B out of the game. Let's be realistic about that. And that is something, you know, they're still going to win the round, I think, most likely. But it's like, it's definitely something against the better team because we would lose this round.
Yeah. And with all that being said, we are closing in on the last minute, roughly 100 seconds left, and Sunshine drives past Sokol, who could have gotten spotted if Sunshine would have been a bit closer. Twist now, maybe seeing that Trash Panda is blind shooting from the corner. Keep in mind, like, independent of the HP difference, if Sunshine for whatever reason drops and dies, they just have the gun advantage, right? Like, he has the strike. Like, Trash Panda's strike can be fairly easily dodged with a 50B. So, 5 versus 6 kills situation as well. So Trash Panda now driving forward. Important for him, obviously, he cannot get clipped by the 50B. And he outspots him, picks up the kill, and I guess that's the end of the story. Sokol is probably gonna survive it, but with 50 seconds left, there's no real chance for him to kill Sunshine.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it is what it is, you know, that is unfortunate at some point, you know, to run into it. Sokol, you know, he takes the strike, but he's not going to be able to do much with that. The natural ending of this round is the way that we expected it to be. But the way that it got to that point, you know, I think Weekend gotta, like we said, look back and do it better in the future to, like, really lock down an end game without giving an opportunity to Lotus to even remotely come back into it, right?
No, for sure. I mean, this could have gone either way at some point, but then like some mistakes on either side. I like this repush on H5 where they tried to like pincer the Dravek. That was a good idea, but it was not enough, and I think it is well deserved in the end to say. Even though they did a bunch of mistakes here and there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they deserve to win this whole series, this round even, if you may. But you know, this is just stuff to work on for them that they don't want to have happening again in the future. But outside of that, you know, 3-0 setting off the start to do so. We want to see the weekend that's able to challenge those top positions, though, like they did not last season, but the season before. For that, we have to see them play against a more realistic opponent on their level and see how they do then. But for a general rehearsal, it was solid.
Yeah, I mean, we can see Hellrep. He was the Force B who drove in and kind of like blew up, but he did a lot of damage and obviously picked up the 2 kills in that situation as well. Trash Bunder staying alive with the K91 as well, with a good combination of damage and assistance, and Sunshine as well, like the light tank. He did a bunch of like risky things towards the end, which I didn't like, but most important thing for him was that he stayed alive. Aside from that, I guess like both teams with fairly good pen rate. I guess you can always criticize that, you know, if you have the autoloaders on your team, you need to have also like the more perfect pen rates. You can see Lotus with a bit lower ones, but their 50Bs shot 7-7-7, 12-12-12, and 5-4, like 5-5-4. So, I mean, the 50Bs kind of did what they could.
Yeah, I don't think the 50Bs really did anything wrong there. There was like this moment. I think there was the one thing I can say for Lotus, David, if you remember, the Blitzka, he kind of overcommitted as well and lost a lot of HP for that.
Yeah.
If he has the extra HP, will they win the game? I honestly don't think so still, because the crossfire would come in. But it's like, it would be more playable.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, the score is 3-0. A bit lucky maybe for Weekend in the end, because they had a bunch of mistakes, but overall I felt like their general level was much higher than Lotus today. Lotus will face off against Sicarios on Thursday, but we'll have a bit more content for today after a short replay break.
This is the world's most advanced processor. In entertainment, its rendering speeds render other processors obsolete. Powers cloud services for billions. Helps change the course of climate change. And uses AI to accelerate disease detection and cures. But only with your AMD. Together, we advance.
W just continuing through. I don't think he's making it. That's going to be a lot of DPM. This will be a hard one for Mafia. It's not looking good. He's going to disappear. Pretty bad for Catchback. He's dead. They are doing damage, but they're not stopping this train of W tanks pushing forward. He's a one-shot Itox with one more kill. They can't really do anything. Haterman seems to be outnumbered. It will be crushed under the heel of W.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to the last match of the first day of the AMD OLS Season 6. And to be honest, Bunter, I think that...
I mean, the 50 euros I swiped you to get this game and get Daki on the bench was definitely worth it to watch Mafia and W play. Definitely excited for this one. Potential grand final as well. W, the holders, Mafia, they're the WCI holders, right? At the moment. So, yeah, we got an absolute blockbuster here.
Absolutely. It is, I believe, also the rematch of the previous season's finals. So let's see what those two teams that are coming into this one with great ambitions are going to do with, Mafia, a tested, a true and proven team with multiple titles to their belt, but obviously falling short last season. So let's see what we're going to get here. Because remember, all of the points that you are getting here in this first phase are going to stay with you, assuming you make it through the second one. And W here, a lot of them with their pictures from China, including Call Me Piotr, that I don't think made the trip, but he had an older picture available. So, yeah, between those two, I think it's very hard. It is going to be nominally the best match of the day, but then again, we already had a tiebreaker.
Yeah, he photoshopped his new uniform. W played Hit and Run in the final last season, no? I thought that's why Hit and Run kept failing. They've gotten to like 3 finals and haven't won a single one, but they're not playing in this one. Mentos, top player here, CS, E50M, Batchat Specialist, 1.7 KD. The average damage is a little bit lower than Little we saw early in the day, but the KD is decent. I think it's a 0.5 higher, so making those crucial kills.
Just a team player, you know, just picking up those kills for his brethren.
Well, you can do 10k and lose if you don't kill anyone, so it is an important factor. But yeah, looking at this one, community predictions are going to be interesting. Slightly in W.
50-50, essentially. Slightly favoring past season's champion, but honestly, with a 51-49 split, you can say that it could go either way here, and that is fair. However, there are such big changes compared to the season before this one that we really have to ask ourselves between those teams who was able to adapt better. Because besides, of course, the introduction of the Dravets and the Ares and the Karo as a tank, and all of the role skill changes that we had coming in with 2.2.1 as well, you know, the tank band feature, I think for those teams, it cannot be overstated how much of an impact this actually has.
Yeah, the thing I love about the OLS is how quickly the meta shifts, right? Like the tanks we see being mainly played in the beginning of the season, they're often not the tanks we see at the end of the season. And the fact that these players have only had about a week to deal with these to learn about these new changes, right? The new role skills, the new tanks, the buffs to the 50B and the 430. I think it creates an interesting dynamic, but map picks here. Mafia choosing that Ensk. W on Sand River, they were pretty good on that map last season, if my memory serves. 2-0 in cashback, and I think they did beat Mafia on that map as well. And yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting one. we'll need to see. I mean, I was so torn on my prediction, which team to go for. I just basically, I was going to coin flip it, but then I just looked at the team that you chose to win, and then I decided to do the opposite.
Yeah, the fact that all of us are going with a tiebreaker victory here for either team, though, says that we're absolutely not sure what's going to happen. And regarding only 1 week of preparation, I have to come in with a quick actually, because all of those teams were training on the Common Test server, the CT, which gave them a bit more preparation time. But of course, it all comes down to these battles that they are going to play now. All of the preparation might not even matter, as I think both teams on Ensk are coming in with the E4 ban, because, well, no realistic other tech. Maybe the Foshby could be relevant, but if the in-game UI for me is not them have locked out the US American tank destroyer with that turret. So let's see how Mafia are going to fare with quintuple type, whereas W only bring 1. And yeah, it seems both teams, or at least Mafia, have chosen the E4. W maybe with nothing, maybe with the E4 as well. But off we go to the races between 2 past champions.
Yeah, I was going to bet you 10 gold that it was going to be Mafia banning that E4. Types are a fantastic tank, but they get absolutely shredded by E4. So taking this many, it's a risk if you can't ban that E4, and they have. So they're opting to brute force this one a little bit. W playing their interesting strats. They went the long way on the 0 line, now gone forward. They have been spotted with some of the Dravix. I don't think they've all been spotted. Strike control been taken by W already. The Fosh B of Kono taking the one in the city. And initial trades, it's just about even. A little bit of bleed. Big hits onto Yuzek though by Nepal and Ios then. Mentos and Itox, they can't sit here. Nice thing about this though is types are not good on long range. They don't have that much pen, so Mentos can survive for a very long time here. If it was E4s, it would be a different story.
Absolutely, and Mafia recognize this. They're starting to repush in the south here on towards the green, but they're going to be driving in towards Dravetzes that are already scuttering back, trying to get to hold down positions, possibly as Barkis takes a big one. Rexa to follow up with taking 2 as well, so the side scraping Dravci are actually doing a pretty good job here, but in from the backlines, a tank that has not yet been revealed is coming in. Kono with a fully loaded Fosh B. Itox is going to absolutely feel the pain as he gets crossfired into oblivion.
Yeah, and that forces a reaction by W in the south, and they're going to be pushing into these super heavies, and that's not really what you want to do. But Mafia, these types have bled a fair amount already, though. Bark is down to 1,000, Conrad on 2k. Orzic makes the peak, takes 1.1 for his trouble.
Great
that
strike.
Big strike there, yeah, that was about 1,200, a little bit less, no, a little bit more, sorry, damage, and the trade's going on. I'm not sure if W are penning as many shots as they'd like here. Barkis will be the focus here. Piotr and Lukin come in. Looks like Lukin doesn't connect into the back of Barkis. That's his ass. Didn't even connect that from behind. Finally, Barkis does go down. I was blocking that road. Clerf is on a one-shot, and W are just running out of steam, especially with this Bosch coming in from behind. He has perfect shots, clipping out Nepal, not even going for the focus fire, just going for straight damage.
Exactly. Conrad not getting double teamed though in between Lukin and Piotr. Goes down towards 1000 HP. That means one more shot from either tank is required, but Nepal in the Dravets gets shut down at the same point in time. It is a 4 versus 3 for Mafia here as 2 tanks for W get cleaned up, and all of a sudden it's just call me Piotr in the Dravets. He's not fighting against Groundwagens, and you know what that means. He's about to have a very unpleasant experience against 4 remaining Mafia players.
Yeah, it was a nice one. I think Mafia made some mistakes, though. I think in the bit quite a lot, but that play from Kono going behind onto Piotr, absolutely deleting him there, and the fact that then forced W into a repush, they weren't for it, and the pen rates just wasn't there. I'm really curious to see how much damage these types blocked. Of course, they're going to have some blocked from the beginning when they were shooting on range, but I think these Dravexes did not pen all the shots that they could have, and I don't think it would have made a difference, but that Lukin bounce was not good.
No, it certainly did not look good as well, just because normally you should be making your shots into the back of tanks at those kind of ranges, but like this, it's actually Profuse that pulls out ahead, and here we can also see the block damage by those types, and yeah, on the Mafia lineup, that's looking mighty fine. That is over 6,000 damage that W essentially didn't do against Yuzek, Rexa, and Barkis combined. I think the problem there a little bit as well with the Dravetzes or Dravci, which would be grammatically correct for the plural version here in Czech, is that, you know, when you're kind of on the move, etc., because the Dravec is actually a pretty low tank, trying to snipe the Cupola, for example, becomes a little bit harder just because the Cupola actually is angled on the Type 5 and you're shooting from below. You're adding, difficulty to it.
Yeah, but at this level, from this close range, you should be penning most. And you can see it in the pen rate. Like, Mafia have 82.5%, W only a 75%. Bear in mind, a lot of these bouncers will be, for example, Mentos and Itox shooting down the length for the rails into types. You know, the types will be bouncing on the mouses will be bouncing on the types because it's shooting on range. But I think there were small margins in this game where if W were a little bit more prepared for a Foch B coming in behind, and they knew the Foch B was there, he wasn't unspotted. They took the info tower. They knew there was a Foch in the city. I really feel W should have been more prepared.
There was actually the problem coming out of, I believe it was Mentos and the mouse, that he tried to angle against the Foch B. Like, he was going to take that damage no matter what, but by trying to angle against the Foch B, all of a sudden he opened himself up to getting shot from the types, and that was in the end what made him lose his HP so rapidly. Like, at that point, you have to kind of do threat triage, if you want to call it that. You have to be like, okay, I'm going to take the Foch B clip. It is what it is, but at least I can try to stay alive by tanking the full Foch B clip, which is a lot of damage, but
he was dead anyway. There's no way he survived. He takes a full Foch clip, and maybe he's alive on 200 HP.
He had like 2.8, and
I'm saying W should have been better prepared. They had the info tower. They knew the Foch was in the city. Why were they not prepared for it?
That's a good question, but I believe with this lighter lineup of the Dravci trying to push into Type 5s, where you such a daring prospect to do that you don't want to unless you absolutely have to. But here the hesitation.
They did leave Mafia quite a lot. Before they were forced into the repush, they bled Mafia quite a lot in these types. A few of those types in the south, 2 of them were down to 2k. So W did do a good job, but all that good work was just undone with the Foch coming behind. But either way, new game, new me. Liska being banned by W, E4 being banned by Mafia. It is interesting how, because of these bans, it changes the meta on this map. Because I think what we're going to start seeing in maybe the next few play days, more different TDs are going to be taken. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing an E3 or 2 to counter this high type gameplay. Well, yeah, you could 268 even, or just something that, obviously E3 is just the example that comes to my head because it's similar to an E4, but Strike being taken by the 140, it's still interesting by W. Playing this style that they're keeping with the non-super heavies, using those Dravex to try and punish them on range. Conrad's taking a little bit of damage. Cap will be started by Yuzek and Orzic. Rotation coming out.
Still talking about the Juggernaut TDs, maybe a V4 even? Like, you have kind of okay-ish heat pen, kind of okay-ish armor, you're going to outspot the Type 5s?
The thing is, I think a Type is so tall, you can overmatch the roof maybe. And definitely you can overmatch the engine deck. I think just...
Especially at range, yeah.
I think the V4s, it won't be the play. I think the pen's not high enough. I think you need a very high pen TD. So I think we might see some types in the front, a 268 in the back, yeah. Does get decapped though, Yuzek. The rotation coming out, it's very cheap rotation. IOS takes 1, 700. It's not horrific. W not making the connections, or just able to cross over just fine. Not sure if the Foch has been spotted in that corner. He is starting to rotate across the A lines. That might be a little bit of a wild card, but
we'll have to wait and see, but Mafia obviously reacting to what W is doing with the rotation. Mentos taking a big one by Orzhek that is playing the Rubbles in the window as well. However, he does take damage from Clorf here, so yet another angle. A new angle has been discovered on Ensk. Yeah, from that 0 line, being able to punish the D4 position is kind of crazy, but now Kono in that Foch has arrived. It's down to a 1 clip in that 140. Yes, Piotr is also there, but of course, if you have a Dravets and a 140 to shoot at with a Foch B, there is no doubt in anyone's mind you're going to go for the Inspire medium. That still is a very potent threat to any team, despite the slight nerfs to the ability.
Yeah, the big thing is that the Foch is still unspotted in the city. He hasn't been spotted this whole game, so he's a bit of Mafia's wild card at the moment. Right now, it's just two ogres kind of hitting each other with types. You know, it's like when you used to play with your dolls. You're just kind of hitting them against each other and pretending it's war. It's pure meat hitting meat right now. I mean, W are kind of getting the better of the trades because they can play hold down with Nepal and Clurf. The cap goes quite high, but there's no real doubt in my mind that they will be able to get a decap on that one. IOS does still have the strike. Kono Mafia at the moment, and I've got to just edge it ahead for Mafia at the moment. I think Mafia have that Foch wildcard, they have full info, and I think they have more map control as well. I'm starting to get a little bit worried for W right now.
The problem for them as well is that, yes, they got the reset, but what did it cost them? It cost them the strike, and that is the 100% reset probability used, and of course Mafia know that as well. They pop the info tower, they know that there are no strike mediums, and they obviously counted the amount of artillery strikes that were picked up as well, and now they're starting to boost the cap here with a second tank. Big connection into IOS as well. Once again, the 140 dropping to 1200 HP. That is 3 shots from a Foch B, mind closer over the green. However, Profuse might be caught out in a problematic situation. There are tanks that are trying to help him, but Profuse goes down towards a 2-shot. However, the crossfire is there. Clurf going down for this move. Nepal might be able to pick up Profuse, that is desperately trying to push him out in towards his own allied tanks. Nepal taking another shot of damage. Should have the reload, does have the gun depression as well to pick it up, but he's left on a single shot of damage for the enemy.
Yeah, it's a brutal one, that 0 line crossing, but it's one W felt they have to make. They spotted that Foch in the city, so they kind of smell blood on this field to try and push out the 0 line, but it just didn't work for them. Lukin goes down. IOS is in a good farming position though, and Itox might be able. One from Rexar, one from Uzek. Barkas might finish him off if he gets that gun depression. Doesn't connect the shot, but I don't think it's going to make enough of a difference here. Kono is coming in, and seeing the final moments of W on Ensk at the moment. Piotr goes down, Rexar falls in return, but Itox is all there on his lonesome, 3k HP in a dream, and it's just not happening. It's quite funny actually what's happening in A0. The Dravik is just running away from the Type, and the Type's just forced to kind of chase him, but yeah, now...
Is it going to be make a big difference though? I don't think so, especially looking at the HP. The mouse was going to die either way, and Nepal for quite some time, and Conrad does shut him down. Not even sure if he possibly used an HE for that, and now IOS will be able to farm a little bit for the stats department for that DPG, but which has been adjusted to 425 alpha damage, by the way, between the seasons, but now 42 HP and a dream. It's not going to be it. IOS loses it. Mafia cleanly convert Ensk 2-0.
Yeah, it's a nice one. I'm quite surprised that they're sticking with this Foch B. I think the Foch B doesn't perform that well against the super heavies, but you can see what W wanted to do. I was looking at the minimap. I saw the Foch get up on ground. You can get shot from the city, get shot from the Type in the low ground, and the strike came in as well. That's 850 damage, and yeah, it's a deserved victory by Mafia. They always kind of looked in control. They had the map control, they had the strikes. W couldn't. They got their initial strike, then they couldn't get another one. So a nice controlled game by Mafia. It didn't. They were always kind of 55% ahead, you know, and they never really let it slip. But it's an interesting meta, definitely, because right, these teams, if it's Mafia against CTR or W against Lotus, we can't analyze that too hard, right? They might be saving tactics or things like that. But this is a heavyweight fight. This is where you need to show something. And we see the meta of Mafia. taking this super heavy lineup with banning E4s and W not really having much of an answer for it.
No. What's also interesting is I think we just saw the highest amount of block damage ever in OLS with 6,700 on Conrad. That's quite a lot, but like across the board, the numbers are extremely high.
I mean, it was literally 6 minutes of like, have you ever played like a derp gun? Something with very low shell velocity, and you shoot it on long range. You feel like you're playing golf, right? It goes up and down. It's kind of like that. You're shooting a low penetration, low velocity gun over long range against super heavies. You're not really going to pen stuff. So if you even then, I think the pen rate for Mafia is pretty good. 70.1 is really good. W less good, but I don't think I don't think the pen rates are that telling this game. Like, they're not losing because of pen rates. They were losing this on position, and yeah, it's an interesting meta. Mafia. This is the first time today that we've seen a team properly use the ban system to their advantage. They ban the high penetration guns, and then they take the heavy tanks that can't get penetrated. It's really nice by Mafia. It's solid. They deserve these 2 points.
The interesting thing as well is that W didn't really pen that much of a high pen tank. Like, it was high DPM with the Bliska, but it isn't really that high pen. But yeah, that is...
They expected a rush. Bliska's a really weird choice, though, on Ensk. It's so rare to see a Bliska Vitzer on Ensk. This was just kind of
nowadays.
I mean, nowadays. I mean, in the first round, they didn't ban anything. I remember when, early in the day, when it was hit and run, and they weren't banning anything. I felt that was like a bit of a power move. It's kind of, oh, I don't even care about your mechanic. I'm just going to play my game. So I kind of like that in a way. But this is the first time I've seen Mafia use this ban system to win a game. They've actively used that system to win a game. You ban the E4, it means that unless W take a high pen TD, which then they're not used to because of the way the meta is, that Mafia can fully abuse it and they deserve to win it. But let's go into the next one. You take it away, Kian.
Well, first of all, we have to wait for the bans coming in, but I can already promise you that those two are going to be the STRV and the RHM, respectively. Going to happen, and as the RHM is banned, that's why we see W adjusting over towards the T100. That is just that little bit weaker when it comes to the firepower department, and also especially on Sand River, you should consider that the T100 doesn't have as much gun depression as the RHM, which can be especially useful on this map. Mafia skipping the light tanks altogether, however. Dravec, CS, W50M 140 and double 430U.
Yeah, I mean, I've played a lot of random Onslaught over the last few days, and I've really started to get an appreciation for the T100. I don't have a Tessec on my actual account, so every time RHM gets banned, I tend to, on maps like Live Oaks and things like that, I tend to take the T100. So I have started to get a bit of an appreciation for it. I can really feel the camo difference between the RHM and the T100. The T100 has so much more camo, it's insane. But the gun, obviously, as you mentioned, a lot weaker, less gun depression, less HP. But yeah, Strike coming out, Rexar getting decapped, double cap started by Yuzek and Barkis in those 430Us. The M5Y and the T100 of W going through the K-line, but Ios is in a bit of trouble here. He takes a lot of damage for this. He's going to take more before he leaves. He might go down for this, and he does.
Ios definitely overstaying here, doesn't realize that the double 430U together with the Dravec from the lower ground would make his life and his position completely untenable. Same for Mentos, who is down to 612 here, all the while Mafia even able to get the cap going. And yes, W, they have an artillery strike, but they're down so much when it comes to positions and basically everything. The first strike is going to reset Barkis, that's 425, but still 20 seconds. But I don't think Mafia at this point care anymore. They know that on the lower side, on the south of the map, there should be some W tanks ripe for the taking. Yuzek committing in, he has the funny button active. Orzhik, even with the 50M, has the possibility to come in from above. Look, Clarv taking more fire, and you said it, that T100 is so flimsy, it's just gonna blow up. Double kill for W, and sorry, for Mafia here, coming in towards W, and Nepal the next one on the chopping block. This one is looking like not a banger. This one's looking like an absolute clean sweep with the team from Poland taking it away.
Yeah, this was boys to men completely. W just got absolutely shreked in this one. And the thing is that Ios is really a bit of a linchpin. He's that central high DPM tank. He covers the K-line. He has the strike that gets the decaps. He covers the north. And him going down, it just it's like dominoes for W, that they get overrun at the K line because there's no backline support. And also like the E50M going in the north, I'm not sure who it was, it might have been either Kono or Orzic in that B4 position, completely countering Mentos in that Dravik. It just fell apart. This wasn't close. 10k remaining. This was boys to men, honestly.
And, well, before the match started, we kind of had the questions who between those two very accomplished teams was able to kind of adapt better to this new meta with tank bans. And I think for now, we kind of have a definite answer to the question. I mean, W here on Sand River trying to play around the RHM ban with the T100, but I don't think that one really mattered too much, honestly. It was just, the tanks getting completely caught off guard. The tanks of W, that is. And we see the battle results. I mean, not a single kill. And whenever the score is 7-0, then most likely it was a tactical loss. Something fundamentally with the setup of the team losing went wrong. It was maybe straight up counter, something like this. But W for now looks like they're kind of back to the drawing board. They're bruised and battered.
Yeah, they need to be, but it's such a strange game. They have the light, which means they have the information. Why does Ayaz go that close? I don't understand. Like, he went to the rock in the bush. Maybe he wanted to get there unspotted. Maybe he had a low noise, God knows. But if you have the light, you need to play a long game. You need to play at arm's length, right? You need to be a bit away from the enemy and play a slow game. I don't know why Ayaz goes that close and just gets caught. And from there, you know, T100, you know, we say often, right? Combat tanks. SJV is not a combat tank. It's a DPM tank. RHM is not a combat tank. It's a spotter, right? It doesn't have as much DPM or sustained fighting potential as other tanks. T100 is even less, right? The gun is pretty terrible. It's got bad gun depression. It's not a fighting tank. It's a poke your enemy until they bleed 1,000 cuts. You know, it's 300 alpha damage. So losing IOs and having that T100 just means basically it's only 5 combat tanks. And from there it was just done, and it was deserved, honestly. The feeling I feel bad about is that it's showing W in 6th. It should show them in 8th.
I mean, I think right now, well, I would say we're going with alphabetical order, but Weekend being in front of Mafia kind of destroys that one for me. But yeah, on a shared place 1 currently, we have Cashback, Weekend, and Mafia sitting all with clean 3-0 victories over their respective opponent. Then 4th and 5th place go to Hit and CTR respectively. That obviously ended up sharing the points. And well, W, Lotus, and Sicarios in a, let's say, shared 6th spot. So it sounds nice for them. But overall, for all of those 3 teams, I think the opening that they showcased today was not where they wanted to be, especially W. I mean, yes, sometimes it just to be like that and you lose against Mafia 3-0, but the fashion that they lost in today, it was, they didn't hold a candle to what Mafia was doing. So definite concerns for the reigning champions.
The thing is as well, right, is W won the previous season. So why do 4 out of the 5 casters predict Mafia to win? You need to think about that. W are just, they're not consistent enough. You know, W could be 3-0 down. I could think it'll be 4-0 or it could be 4-3 to W. There's no either way. They either do full remontada or they just get whitewashed. And that's the thing. W need to try and get more consistent. But apart from that, the games today have been good. Weekend coming back with fight. Of course, they're fighting Lotus, one of the weaker seeded teams. But considering how badly Weekend did in the previous season, coming back and doing a clean 3-0 is really nice for them.
You know, when Weekend had the first 2 rounds on the board, that already meant they had more points than the complete last season where they got 0. So, definite upwards trend for them for now. But yeah, first of all, here are the play days once again for you because we are past the matches for today. And this was the opening stream of the AMD Onslaught Legends Series Season 6. Today is the 28th of April. And we'll be continuing on Thursday, which is the 30th. Same place, same time, obviously, twitch.tv/worldoftanks. And there's a lot of other people covering it in other languages as well. That being said, what's up for today? Well, it is the Twitch drops, obviously. The first 5 OLS tokens are up for grabs today. The grand old reward there, of course, being the E75 TS this season. And also, you can get 2 Twitch drops rental tanks that are available for being played in Onslaught, Object 705A and the Bliskowitzer. And if you want a third one, that is the E50M, go head over to the portal actually, where you have the overview of the entire season there. You will be able to claim another one. You have to just log in and then click the button to get an easy third or sixth in total actually rental for this season for yourself. And that being said, we are, in case you weren't able yet to claim all the Twitch jobs for today, we are obviously going to be raiding twitch.tv the Killzor after, thanks to him as well. He had an awesome cast today. So yeah, spread the love. Bunter, thank you very much for being on today, and see you the day after tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
This is the world's most advanced processor. In entertainment, its rendering speeds render other processors obsolete. Powers cloud services for billions. helps change the course of climate change and uses AI to accelerate disease detection and cures. We make the world's most advanced processors, but only with your vision can we advance the world. AMD, together we advance.